So welcome one and all to episode number 60 of the Megavision Show, the companion podcast to Megavision's magazine. Today is November the 22nd, 2020. I'm Graham, the production editor of Megavisions, and joining this week we have Scotty Moe, the managing editor of Megavisions, and no, he doesn't want no scrubs. He won't be chasing any waterfalls. Joining us this week is Anti-Chris. Hey! As
I don't
always,
understand that reference.
Don't want no scrubs. Scrub of the boy can't get no love from me. Hang on the passenger side. His best friends are trying to holler
at me. But what about the waterfalls?
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
That's not the same band, but
they're both TLC songs.
Nope, one's Destiny's Child, sir.
Oh no! I've got that wrong. I want a twist. Oh, oh well. That's me mixing up my musical band lyric people. Clearly I don't listen to either, but
terrible.
Maybe I should start this whole show again. I'm not sure.
Or no.
We've committed. We're moving on. So yes, as always, we've got a great show for you. We'll be answering some of your burning questions. We'll have our picks of the week, where we'll be chatting more Yakuza. Scotty talks about a documentary, and I'll be talking about a true story. And to celebrate the Saturn's 26th anniversary in Japan, we'll be looking back on some Saturn memories. So join us as we skip merrily through the grassy meadow that is this week's Megavision show. But before we get to the good stuff, Scotty is wearing a most excellent shirt or t-shirt. Please, Scotty, give us a spin. Or just show us the t-shirt.
Spin? There's nothing on the back. It's just the...
It's for me, baby.
So
you get to see the back of my chair, I guess.
Yeah. Any audio listeners?
I'm so jammed in between my futon and the desk, I can't even spin around.
Nice.
For any audio listeners, Scotty is wearing a bright yellow SEGA Saturn t-shirt with the Japanese Saturn logo on it. And I thought, brilliant. I assume it is for the 26th anniversary. Is that correct, Scotty?
Yeah,
excellent.
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
He's nodding. But yeah, aside from your awesome t-shirt, let's take a moment to look ourselves in the mirror as we discuss our week. So, Anti-Chris, welcome back to the show. How have you been?
Thank you.
And tell us about yourself, or tell us about your week, in fact. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, y'all should know who I am by this time. I mean, I was on the podcast previously. I've been working with y'all for almost a year, so we should be good on that. I have been playing a lot of fighting games lately. I've kind of like started hanging out with this one community. And I don't even know how to like describe the community itself, because it's just like a lot of like independent streamers that work with each other and collaborate with each other a lot. Okay. And I've kind of just been like thrown in there. And so far for the last 2 or 3 weeks, every single weekend, I've been up until 5 o'clock in the morning playing some sort of fucking fighting game online. So it's been great. I've been loving it, but I'm very, very sleep deprived. Outside of that, I did a review for Bubble Bobble for Friends. The Baron is back. Spoiler alert, that game is bad.
Wait, is that actually the title? The Baron is back?
The Baron is back.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's Bubble Bobble. So Taito decided to come back to the console game after their 2010 release, I believe on the 360 arcade. And
yeah, it was on there.
And because after that, they were just making like phone games. So like they had some Bubble Bobble dance game that they had there. And then they had a legit Bubble Bobble adventure for iOS and Android. And now last year, they came out with Bubble Bobble for Friends on the Switch. They ported it over to the PS4 and added a new mode called The Baron is Back.
What the fuck?
Look, if it's essentially Bubble Bobble with a new skin, with like a new, like kind of like a facelift, but like all of the problems that the series was having as it was evolving from their 1986 release to the late 1990s, and where they essentially just became fucking shovelware, is existent in the actual game. The only new interesting thing is the mode called The Baron is Back, where it is 100 levels that you have to play straight through. if you lose, you go all the way back to the first stage. Now you can play this with up to 4 friends, but you all share one pot of lives. So if you lose lives in this mode, it doesn't matter if you score a high score. There are no extra life thresholds. So you start off with 9 lives, you end with 9 lives, and it's a lot more difficult. The stages are a bit more claustrophobic. There is invulnerable enemies. But it's, you played one, you played them all. So in my review, I just said, look, if you want to play a Bubble Bobble, just wait for the game to come out on the Nintendo Switch online shop and just play it on there for free or with your subscription. Otherwise, like, it's not worth, like, if this was a $20 game, I would be changing my tune. But they're expecting $40 for it, and there's no online play. It's just fucking leaderboards, and it's a very bare bones game for what I can compare other $40 games to. So just skip it.
Wasn't the one on 360 online? Didn't it have online multiplayer?
I think it did.
I remember it was 4-player.
And it was like $10 or $15. That was like super cheap.
Yeah. Boy.
But anyway, skip that. I picked up Kabuki Warriors. Kabuki Warriors is a original Xbox fighting game where all the characters that you play as are Kabuki actors, and they act out the fights on stage. It sounds interesting. It's super jank. Like, I can literally beat the game by smashing the controller on my ass. I've done it before. I'm going to do it again on stream.
That's a kabuki dance, of course.
Exactly, the kabuki dance. I got it for the meme. That's the only reason why I picked the game up. I just want to have some stupid fucking fun and get mad at something on camera. And then finally, I picked up Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. I know that this is a Nintendo game, and everyone's but like, I'm a huge Zelda fan. I have been looking forward to this game since it was announced. It is not what I thought it was going to be. Without spoiling too much, if you played Breath of the Wild, you know that there, in the prequel 100 years ago, there was a huge war that broke out, and then Hyrule lost, which sets the storyline for Breath of the Wild. Age of Calamity is supposed to, or set itself up as the prequel, so the events that led to that happening, but that's not necessarily the case, because you can't have a sad ending, you can't have an unhappy ending in a fucking Nintendo video game. So they have it set up where the events that take place in Age of Calamity is an alternate universe. And what I think is going to end up happening is that they're going to be like, oh, this version of Link and Zelda saved the world by beating Calamity Ganon. And I'm just like, that's a fucking cop-out, you bitches.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's a good game. As far as Dynasty Warriors games are concerned, it's very, very good. In the other Hyrule Warriors and also in other Dynasty Warrior games in general, I usually find the one Unga Bunga character where they just rush down and beat everybody up, and I stick with that character. In this game, every single character that I've played so far has been so like in depth and detailed out, and has a very interesting moveset to just play around with. That I'm just like, Link, you need to go sit down. Impa could like summon like 8 or 9 copies of herself and do massive amounts of damage. Zelda has like the Sheikah Slate, and she's able to, like, everyone has access to the abilities that you had in the Breath of the Wild from the get-go with the Sheikah Slate, but everyone uses them differently. And Zelda is very centric on the use of the Sheikah Slate, and it's so fucking cool. So regardless of what I had to say, it's very anime style as far as the story is concerned. So if that like is a plus or a minus for you, I'm not big on anime tropes, but they're there and I tolerate them because the game is just that good. So definitely, if you're a Zelda fan, go check that out.
I need to ask, because I actually have a huge black hole in my knowledge around Hyrule Warriors and Dynasty Warrior games. Like, I know they exist, and I've seen some screenshots. I have no idea what kind of game they are. Are they strategy games? Are they action games? Like, what do you how do you play them?
The best way that I can describe them is, especially when you get into the harder difficulties, because normal and easy are fairly easy. Normal might get a little bit difficult towards the later stages. It's essentially a hack and slash where you are a demigod and you have all these foot soldiers around you and you just swing your sword and kill everybody in like 1 to 2 hits. Okay. It is like one of the biggest power trips that you can experience because you are just so strong and powerful.
And it's all in real time, is it? Like it's
all in real time. So you and your units your units might follow you. But they usually don't. But like you and your units go to battle with these other units, and when you're fighting the foot soldiers, they just die. You just swing and they fucking die. And then you'll see other officers and generals on the opposing side, and that's where the real battle takes place because it's you against these enemies, and you have to figure out what strategies are the most effective against them. And with Hyrule Warriors in particular, each of the enemies will do a certain action that is exploitable with one of the options on the Sheikah slate. So if I have an enemy that's charging at me, if I use Cryogenesis or the Cryosis ability, it'll summon an ice pillar that will launch the enemy up in the air, and every single hit that I get on them is now a critical strike. And when you get enough critical strikes on them, you can do the weak point attack and pretty much do either half or more damage to them. So it's a very fun, fast-paced game, but there is a strategy element because while you're doing your things, your units are also fighting off other enemies on the map, and you have to pause the game, tell your units, tell your generals where you want them to go, whether you want to move them to the northern part or the southern part, defend certain strongholds and bases. It's very... When it's well done, it's very frantic because you'll hear other generals saying, hey, we need assistance over in this area. And sometimes you are just way too fucking far. And what Hyrule Warriors does, or Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity does, which I don't remember, and I'm pretty sure they do, but I don't remember if they do this in other games, is that I can now switch between my generals. So I can be playing as Impa and defending the southern stronghold, and then I'll have Link all the way up to the north who's advancing an attack on one of the main boss characters. Once I stave off the attack to the southern base, I can then hit up on my D-pad and switch over to Link to go right back into the fight against the officers that I'm trying to kill.
Cool. These games always interested me, but I sort of seen some videos and never really understood what was happening. I was like, is this a strategy game or what's happening? So that sounds really cool. That sounds really cool.
If you're trying to get into the Dynasty Warriors like franchise, I can't really like throw a dart, or not necessarily throw a dart, but I can't really pinpoint you to a direction where to go. Both Hyrule Warrior games are very, very good, but they've done other crossovers. They've done Fire Emblem. They've done Berserk and the Band of the Hawk. They've done Gundam.
Yeah.
But the Berserk game is not good.
Oh,
that's what the unfortunate thing. The Berserk game is not great. If you're a Gundam fan, for the PS3, Dynasty Warriors Gundam 3, Gundam 2, and Gundam 3 both are very good games.
Okay.
Even Dynasty Warriors Vanilla and Dynasty Warriors Extreme are pretty decent, so you can definitely go check those out.
Okay, cool. No, pro tip. I like it. Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
That series has always just not mattered outside of Japan. Essentially, my buddy Anthony was a fan of them, or he is a fan of them. He's like, and his opinion is, oh, a new Dynasty Warriors game. Cool. Well, I know it's going to tank, so I'll wait for it to release, and then in a couple weeks it'll drop $20 because no one's going to buy it, and then I'll enjoy it.
You know, that's
that was
almost
pre-Hyrule Warriors, though.
Exactly. Once Hyrule Warriors came out, everyone started paying attention in the West, and we're just like, oh wait, it's Zelda. And then they started releasing like other like non-Dynasty Warrior franchises in there. So like when Berserk came out, Berserk was like $60 for almost 6 months, and then it just recently dropped down to a wild $35. But it's not great.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think, well, yeah, because it was only in my like in my atmosphere because of working at GameStop, but the only one that caught my eye was Gundam. I've played them before just because I've had access to them, but like it. And then when I saw that there was a Gundam game, I like looked up and it's just like, holy crap! Basically, Shonen Jump. If you're in that, you have a Dynasty Warriors game.
Yeah.
But I remember Hyrule Warriors was a big deal because I think that was the first major crossover with Nintendo that didn't involve that wasn't a cell phone game or something. Like I feel like that was the first holy crap, something's using a Nintendo license that isn't Nintendo.
Yeah, it was a really big deal when it came out.
Sonic at the Olympics, Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, probably the biggest crossover ever. No, don't even know that. Okay.
No.
It's not the same thing because everyone kind of expected it when it was Mario and Sonic because those are one after the public beating that Sega got after the fall of the Dreamcast. Everyone was saying oh, Nintendo's going to take up the Sonic IP and shit like that. And then when that crossover finally did happen, they were like, oh, cool. It's an Olympics game.
Yeah, okay, that's a fair
right.
But then when Koei Tecmo turned around and got the Zelda IP, which is one of the most protected IPs that Nintendo has, and they were just like, yeah, we're going to make a Musa game out of this. And we were just like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I think
it came out to be good.
I think your train of thought, Graham, it's kind of the opposite of what we're trying to portray because when Mario and Sonic happened, that was Nintendo allowing Sega to enter their consoles more so than Sonic already was on there and stuff. Whereas this is Nintendo allowing someone else to use their IP. Right. And Nintendo is the traditionalist company that, it was a big deal when Mario showed up on an official Mario game on a cell phone kind of thing.
Right.
So that it's does that make sense that it's kind of the opposite allowing of the properties because Sonic was already on Nintendo consoles before the Mario and the Sonic games because we had the Secret Rings, we had Adventure on the GameCube. So, but then when Mario and Sonic crossed over, that was a big deal. I'm not trying to say that wasn't a big deal, but I'm saying that was Nintendo allowing someone else to come into their universe. This is Nintendo allowing someone else to finagle their universe. Because
Sega was the company that actually made the Mario and Sonic games, so it was Nintendo giving Sega the rights to use their characters, basically. I mean, it's fully licensed by both of them, but it was Nintendo saying, yep, Sega, we're going to trust you to make this game using our IP. So, yeah, I kind of get what you're talking about, though. But, yeah.
I just feel like what it comes down to is that in some people's minds still, there is still some sort of level that both Nintendo and Sega sit on. Maybe not necessarily on equal standing, but they're still relatively close. Koei Tecmo is so far away from what Nintendo represents. I mean, Koei Tecmo is dead or alive. Koei Tecmo is the Dynasty Warriors games. Where Sonic or Sega has family-friendly IPs, Koei Tecmo is just not that.
Right.
I mean, Koei Tecmo is the jiggle physics.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's also that kind of lends to why my brain exploded when they announced a high Zelda-related Crypt of the Necrodancer thing.
Oh yeah, that was crazy for an indie developer to get their hands on
indie
Zelda.
Developer.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about now. So
okay, well, this might put it into a little more. Graham, God damn it!
No, you gotta do it. You gotta do it.
So there, Crypt of the Necrodancer is a rhythm-based dungeon crawler or roguelite, light. I don't know. I was introduced to this game at PAX East one year using a DDR pad to play what looked like a top-down Zelda game. So I was like, dude, I'm all in. I will get a DDR pad for this. This is absurd. And yeah. Fast forward, and it's just a good game where you do obviously good soundtrack. It is a dungeon crawling game, but it's a dungeon crawling rhythmic game. And then it came out recently that there was a Zelda related add-on to it, and everybody was like, whoa, what? Not only are they allowing someone to use Zelda, but they're allowing someone to use Zelda music. And not only that, but it's an indie company. So it was just
wow.
I mean, I don't mean to speak ill of who was it that passed in Nintendo that was high up?
Satoru Iwata?
Yeah, I don't mean to speak ill, but once he passed away, Nintendo had a lot of other deals with a lot of other companies, and they were doing stuff on cell phones, so
I
the
won't
traditionalist
necessarily
atmosphere kind of went away a little bit.
I won't necessarily you're right, but I won't necessarily say that was anything against what Satoru Iwata was doing when they brought on Kimishimi, and I'm fucking up his name, the president the president before the one that they currently have right now. He was just all about, yo, I'm from the administrative business department. I'm here to do business. And I'm like, we're doing all these things like the old way. Fuck this. Bring Bayonetta on. Go sell Mario. Put him on a fucking cell phone.
Yeah. People bought that dumb game for $8 or whatever it was.
$10. I did. It's good. I don't care. It's good. It's a good game. Fuck you.
So, yeah. Welcome to our Sega podcast.
And with that, Scotty, what's been going on with you? Any Sega-y kind of Sonic-y related things going on?
All the time.
Good.
There was no Thursday Night Throwdown this past week, so I took over and learned that it was Sonic R's 23rd anniversary. So I was like, I need an excuse to play this game. So I booted up Sonic R on my Saturn, streamed that for a little bit. It was a short stream because I had pro strat player TJ in there and some other people telling me how to go about going through, and I 100%ed it on stream again. It's nice. That's like a 20-minute game. So if you want to get everything in it, that's a whole hour and a half.
I remember
maybe.
that game taking me weeks to get like 100%, like back in the day. Like that was a game that lasted me a long time. Like maybe.
Yeah. Well, the maps are not too friendly, even with them being displayed like on your screen to find all the coins and stuff.
Yeah, I remember just spending hours, like literally hours, like going through that with my mate, like trying to find different things and having a great time, to be honest.
Yeah, I unironically enjoy Sonic R. We've streamed it before. We did a 4-player stream. I'm fairly certain you were on for that, Chris. Was that right?
I for the Sonic R. I was there for the Sonic R.
When we streamed like 4-player, it was Corey was hosting mainly, and I think TJ had connection issues. He wasn't able to play. Did you not join for that?
I don't think I was there for the Sonic R game.
I hope Corey has it saved because we'll have to bring that up again and load that on YouTube or something. We did do a 4-player forever ago, which was fun because it was the version I played was Saturn. It got released on PC, which had 4-player split screen for some reason. Good old Windows 95. Everybody's doing that, right? And then that version was put on the GameCube.
I have my PC version here.
What the fuck kind of case is that?
That's disgusting.
Oh my god!
Explosive. It's like a which way around? Yeah, it's a. I guess
stupid.
It's kind of like,
is explosive like the name of a game store? Is that the generic box that they just slap the fucking cover on?
Certain PC games, like maybe when they sort of after they were released after a few years back in the day, a company like Explosive and there's some other cheap companies out there would pick up the rights to keep publishing them, I guess. So yeah, I think Sega did a lot of them. I've got another.
So they're just kind of like a localization company, right?
Well.
That's so ugly as bad.
I don't think
literally look like. I'm sorry.
I would be embarrassed to own those. I would throw the case out and put it in a jewel case, just generic jewel case.
It really looks like that's something that like Blockbuster or GameStop would create to make you think that game is in there. I don't know. It's just.
I've seen better covers for adult film videos.
For the audio listeners, do you even want to explain what you're looking at right now?
I guess, okay, so it's the actual box art, but then it's like condensed into a frame of like red coloring about an inch around it, and then sideways, this is so 90s. On the left, it says explosive, but it's spelled XPLOSIV. So fuck. Not fuck vowels, just fuck the letter E. But it's that extreme attitude, and is it like flames around it, or is it what is that red exactly? It looks like it's trying to be a fireball. I don't know.
It looks like the background cover to a bad what was that band that Chris Cornell was in? One of those bad grungy albums.
It almost looks like a really blurry top-down view of the old Command and Conquer games, but like with a red filter.
Yeah.
Like
it's
really, like So it looks really low res. It's hard to explain, but when you look at it closely. But yeah.
But it's in a case that is a DVD case. It's not a big box PC or even like a medium box PC game. It looks like a DVD case, which I think is to me why it looks like a GameStop or even when Best Buy is doing their pre-owned games, like they're made box art.
This is another release by this is another not Sega game, but
you
Trespasser.
have fucking Trespasser.
Do I?
Of course, Graham of
one
all of my friends is the other person who's
one of the finest first-person shooter games ever made.
One of the worst.
But this is by another company called Collector. So yeah, again, they took the publishing rights.
Spell their name right.
Yeah, Collector. Full stop.
Does the UK not have like real publishing or logistic deals? They're all just localization.
This is like, you know how like Sam's Club has like 365 and Walmart has like their whatever their brand of food is. This looks like the Walmart brand of PC.
So
this is a great value video game.
You remember that the fantastic PC game Deus Ex? Do you remember the sold out edition?
What?
That's disgusting. Graham, stop showing me things.
We're selling the sold out edition. That doesn't make sense.
Graham, actually, you've inspired me. I'm going to start collecting UK exclusive, like bad adult film rejected covers.
I have to admit, you don't see these as much anymore. It did seem to be a very like.
Yeah, I wonder why.
90s, early 2000s things like so like I've got Crisis, which is like the full game, normal box and stuff. So yeah, it just seems certain companies, and they were like the cheap version, like once they've done their first run.
Wait a second, in the UK, do they still sell PC games on disc and in box?
I think a handful of games, not that many.
Do you guys not have Steam?
I mean, they're closer to steampunk than we are.
Oh dear.
I thought, Steve, what I thought you were showing us at first, and which is why I wasn't entirely thrown off by that box art at first, was Sega did for like almost 2 generations worth of just PC releases, but it would be like collections of things. So you'd see like for no reason Virtua Cop, Virtua Fighter, just because they're both Virtua. Or you'd see like, all the Sonics or Panzer Dragoons on PC and stuff. Yeah. So I thought that's what you were showing us. That is great value PC games.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yep. So
what the hell? Scotty, I played Sonic R. Oh man, no. I guess closing on Sonic R, just like I did enjoy that game as a kid because that was the first full 3D Sonic experience. Because Sonic 3D Blast was not that. You had, I don't remember if Sonic Jam came out before Sonic R or not. Actually, I could just turn around and look because I'm cool and I have these here. Maybe I could. Let's see here. 97. Oh, I both say 97. I don't know. Okay, I have all my Saturn boxes because I'm doing a video later today.
I've got a legitimate question. That Sonic Jam that you got there, I have the Japanese version, and for some reason,
so much cooler.
Yeah, it's super dope. The Japanese version, I played all the way through. I want to say Ice Cap, and then for some reason, I beat Ice Cap, and it skips immediately to Sandopolis Zone.
Interesting. That's wrong.
Oh, yeah. Weird.
I've never heard of that.
For some fucking reason, it just fuck this game. Fuck half the game. Just go.
Yeah. You're doing well enough. We'll skip you ahead.
Yeah, but then I can't get the Super Emeralds, and I'm just like, I only know where they are at Mushroom Hill, so I'm just like, fuck this shit.
That's so weird. And shout out to the old Sonic Jam art in America. It says 4 Sonic classics on one jammin' CD.
I don't miss the 90s.
I sure do, but no, I was asked to be part of a video talking about Sega consoles, and I'm going to be talking about the Saturn. Fittingly, I'll do that later today. So I have like a bunch of my cases sitting next to me. I don't just always have them ready, despite them being right behind me as well.
Is that the Dr. Scottnick video?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm doing the Sega Genesis portion.
Nice. No, I was just going to say Sonic R was like the first like legit Sonic 3D game you could explore. So maybe that's why they made it so cumbersome to find the coins and stuff and the emeralds in those tracks. but it was just fun playing that. Had some new people coming in and checking us out, and we ended up raiding Game Tracks, and that was a good time. Got raided by Virtua Kazuma, who's good people as well. So that was fun. And then, otherwise, I haven't been playing too much, except I put up the Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 preview. Mm-hmm. That game is a puzzle game, and it is a good game, but it is reminding me how hard it is to write a review on a puzzle game. Especially a sequel, because I can only imagine how people tried to review like a new Tetris game now and stuff like that. But it is. I'm learning stuff about the Puyo universe, and I didn't realize that series is essentially as old as Tetris. Because when I was like looking up stuff for like, it has a story mode. There's been Puyo RPGs. I won't get too much into this because you guys can read my preview, and the review will be out next month. That's another thing. I have the game like a full month ahead of time. So
must be nice. I got Bubble Bobble a full 3 days before release.
Nice.
It's great.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, just to be clear, Anti-Chris's Bubble Bobble review is available to read on megavisions.com.
Oh, yeah.
Megavisionsmag.com to be precise. So yeah, check it out if you want to hear how terrible it is, apparently. And
plug.
And Scotty's Puyo Puyo Tetris. Continue, please.
Yeah, that's up now as well. But that the preview anyway, because the game's not out yet. The embargo for the game, the full game's not out yet. But like, I was like, man, what am I gonna do? Because there's story stuff I cannot talk about, and so I like look up real quick. Just like I hop on Twitter and I see the fan base like ready for this story, ready for these characters to shine, and I'm just like, oh man, I don't want to be a part of another fan base that. I need to keep my distance from some fan bases. I'm a firm believer that you need to enjoy what you need to enjoy. Do not let the fan base destroy stuff for you. But it's so easy to fall into that. So I'm just immediately backed out. I'm like, I'm just going to play this game and write about it. I don't need to know more about these characters. I'm scared now.
Embrace it. Embrace it. Look up the Rule 34 on it.
No, I'm sure I'll accidentally find that. Dude, it's like. You know, 5 Degrees to Kevin Bacon. You do any image search, and you're gonna come up within like 25 images of either Sonic the Hedgehog or My Little Pony. Still, so I don't need to go that far to probably find this for Puyo Puyo. Yeah, I don't know. But I enjoy that game. Like I like puzzle games. I suck at the Puyo aspect, but I do want to play more of that. I plan on streaming it in the future. I have it on Switch. And I'm gonna try to figure some stuff out to stream it in the future because I don't want to ask other people to buy it, but I'm so bad at the Puyo half. But I can hold my own in Tetris, but I'm so bad at the Puyo half that it's like not even entertaining if I'm streaming with randos online and just like in 30 seconds of the match, my screen is empty and we're basically watching everyone else play. That I don't know, that I'm not talking to or anything. So, but it's still a fun game. And they've added stuff to that makes it more RPG-like, which is intense, but not game-breaking. It's hard to explain that without going into too much detail and like just making this a Puyo discussion. But that's that game. And then I actually, for the first time ever yesterday, performed playing guitar on Facebook. I've been learning stuff, and I'm a drummer. I should tell people who maybe don't know this yet. Like, I've played in a band for years. I'm not in a band right now, but drums by trade and lessons and stuff. And with quarantine, I've played more guitar, picked up more guitar. Rachel got her acoustic from her parents' house, and I've been playing that more. And I finally was like, in the back of my head, I have enough music friends and stuff in different groups and doing different stuff that I could probably at will just like gather enough people to have a full group play on a stage, but that doesn't happen right now. And I was kind of just like, I need to just see if this works. I need to just give it a shot. So played a couple covers, played an original, and it was nerve-wracking, and I was very anxious, but it was fun. And it was a good time. It was cool. It's only available to my friends, so I don't know. I wanted to talk about it anyway, but not most of the people listening to this won't be able to ever watch it, I guess, but unless I get the courage to make it public. But it was cool.
Record it in OBS.
Yeah, but it's very fitting that that's how I finally make a debut performance on guitar, that it's through a Facebook live stream rather than a band. But to that regard, like streaming games and stuff actually made me a little bit more comfortable with it. But then also in the same regard, like more people were in the chat and stuff like when I was done pretty much. So I'm just like talking to people at the end, you know.
Okay.
But maybe I'll do more of that stuff. But it's I think you guys are both friends with me on Facebook, so you can probably watch it.
Yep. I'll check
so
it out.
It was fun. It was like I said,
club.
Yeah. So I will say too, that none of the covers will surprise anyone that knows me. So, I don't want to make it a big cover there. No, I don't know why I'm making a big secret. I played "Everything Is Awesome," the Lego theme song. Then I did an original. Then I did a Wine and Spirit was my old band. I covered my favorite song of ours back in the day. I would always describe it as everyone and everyone's mom's favorite song because it's a very like upbeat, fun. You can clap to it. It's called "Sweet Mackenzie." Then I did Blink-182's song "What Went Wrong," and then I ended with Less Than Jake, who is a ska band, but it's not a ska song. The song is "The Brightest Bulb Was Burned Out, Screws Fall In, Screws Fall Out." But it was a good time. It was fun. And then I am probably going today to pick up some issues of Sega Visions because Warp Zone, someone traded in a couple and I claimed them. So I'm either swinging in there today, maybe Black Friday. I don't know. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So I guess I've been busier than I thought.
Fantastic. Oh, good to hear. And just before we continue, I just want to highlight something. Both the Waterfall song and No Scrubs are TLC songs. They're both TLC. I Googled it. They're both TLC songs. I had to Google it. It's like, type in No Scrubs, TLC. Don't go chasing waterfalls,
no.
TLC.
Okay, but here's my original thing. Like, I don't want no Scrubs, because Scrubverse, 100% get it. What the fuck does the waterfall have to do with?
What doesn't it?
Okay, that's fine.
Just both TLC songs. I just went
your train of thought, man.
I thought something and I went with it. That's what it was. You don't need to think about the intro thing.
Fuck, I really thought that was Destiny's Child.
Wow,
is one member of TLC in Destiny's Child? Or I know somebody split off or did.
There.
I thought they all looked like Beyonce.
Right, okay.
I'm not, you can say that. I'm not saying a thing.
I thought it's all Beyonce.
Oops, all Beyonce? Is that what that whole genre is now?
Beyonce. I don't listen to pop, but like especially like 90s pop or 2000s.
A lot of those like one-hit wonders blend together so much.
And that's what I'm saying. Like the biggest star to come out of like either TLC or Destiny's Child, because I don't know who's who, is Beyonce.
Right.
And then
Lisa Left Eye Lopez. Cool. She's a person. But she died in 2002.
Crazy.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Man.
Yeah, that was sad.
Crazy, sexy, cool.
And apparently TLC is classed as an American hip-hop group. So, yeah. Clearly,
okay, yeah, sure.
I would have put them down as pop as well. So
it's popular. That's what it was. Look, I wasn't watching fucking what was that MTV show with Carson Daly?
TRL.
TRL. I wasn't watching that. I was waiting for Headbangers Ball to come on.
TRL. I lived and died by TRL. It was so stupid.
Really?
So bad. But I mean, that was like, aside from my group of friends, like that's how I learned of music. And I'm no shame. I'm not going to dance around that. So it's just different times entirely. Freaking.
I guess that was like when everyone would gather around after school and just watch TRL. And I'm just like,
yeah, it was like,
I don't like this.
It was like the after school cartoon for high schoolers.
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, I can't say much. I just recently figured out that Taylor Swift started out as a country artist, so whatever.
Oh wow.
Oh, didn't you know that?
Whoa. No, I didn't know that. God damn it, people.
Oh wow.
That's crazy. I didn't know.
I'll give you another Taylor Swift facts. If hopefully this is right. I'm gonna say something, it's probably gonna be wrong. What do they grow on her parents' farm?
Potatoes.
Some of that sweet dank.
Christmas trees.
All right. She is a living Hallmark movie.
Yeah. if you type in Taylor Swift Christmas, like the first thing that comes up is Taylor Swift Christmas Tree Farm. Apparently.
Oh, I thought she had a Christmas album.
No, she has a Christmas tree farm in.
She has to.
In Pennsylvania. Wow.
Oh man.
Oh, she's right around the corner from you, Scotty.
Yeah, near Reading.
All the time.
What?
Yeah,
What's
that's how I've been learning guitar.
Wyo Missing? Wyo Missing, is that a place? I'm probably pronouncing. It says Wyo Missing, Pennsylvania, near Reading. I don't know.
How do you what? I'll look it up on my phone.
WYO Missing.
All right,
okay, anyway,
in, Taylor
like
Swift
Wyoming,
Christmas,
but Wyo Missing.
Christmas Tree Farm. Oh nope, that came up with the album. That's entirely the album. Yeah, I'm not gonna find. Oh, okay. I don't see the name that you found.
Oh, it popped up in my one.
Weird.
Anyway,
Christmas Tree Farm.
Your algorithm is weird.
Let's move on, shall we? Because
let's go.
I realize we've gone down a massive rabbit hole after just talking about TLC. Apparently, there we go. So, what's happening with me at the moment? I'm now on holiday for a week. So I've taken a week off work because work's been stressful, and also I need to use up my holiday because during lockdown I kind of forgot to take a holiday. So using up some holiday days, which is good. And I picked up something or paid for something which is being shipped, but it's not here yet. So I can't tell you. I'm going to tell you guys in the next show.
Great value porn.
Blow the load.
God. Oh dear. But yeah, I'm disappointed because I was meant to come on Friday and it didn't, so a bit annoyed. I did also buy a new USB webcam, an HD one. Can you guys tell the difference?
Yes, I can. You look super nice.
The glare is super precise now.
Yeah, fantastic.
I can see the shine very clearly off of your head.
That's what I meant.
Thank you very much. It's funny you should say that because this is still the same webcam because the other one I bought was a piece of shit. So this is the thing I bought.
Dude, that looks like a Game Boy camera.
I know, it does a little bit. But it's got its own built-in ring light and stuff, and it's meant to be HD. And I was looking on Amazon, and they had a ton of these on there. And this one wasn't the cheapest, but it was cheaper than a lot of other HD webcams. But as I was looking at all the reviews were like, this is great. And some of them even showed screenshots, or like pictures of what they'd done. And I was like, okay, the quality does look pretty decent, actually. I'm gonna go for it. Because full HD webcams are surprisingly expensive. They're like well over £100, whereas non-HD ones are like quite cheap. My current one is 720p, so it's not full HD. But it's a Microsoft one, and it's actually done me very well for the last... I've had it for years now. Can't even remember when I got it. So I thought, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for this. It's cheaper. It's like some sort of crappy Chinese brand, I'm sure. And yeah, it was terrible. I'm all washed out. You would not see the glare on my head, my friend. I was all washed out. I couldn't read my Mega Drive box in the background. The font was it just looked so blurry. And the ring light did nothing almost. Literally did nothing. So I was just like, I will take this back then. But that arrived this morning. The delivery man woke me up at 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday. Beautiful. I was trying to sleep.
Trying to sleep through church.
Damn right. I was in my Homer Simpson, staying at home while the family goes to church sort of nice day.
I know exactly what episode you're talking about, because he finds a penny under the couch and he thinks, is this the greatest day of my life? And flashes through to his wedding day and stuff. That's my memory, ladies and gentlemen. I couldn't tell you who the certain president is 15 years ago, but I remember that episode of The Simpsons.
So true. But there have been some other things happening. So, Chris, to answer a question you had earlier, yes, we do have Steam in the UK because I bought Shenmue 3 on Steam the other day when it finally released on Steam. Woohoo! So I now actually own 2 copies because I have it on the PlayStation 4, but I don't own a PlayStation 4.
Ew,
so I haven't even played it.
Ew, why? Ew.
Why?
Ew. Shenmue 3 is garbage.
Wait,
I'll let you address him first.
So I backed it on Kickstarter because I'm a big fan of Shenmue. I haven't played it yet. It was 66% off on Steam. So yeah, I got the deluxe version for £20, which is pretty reasonable. So that's all the
I'm
DLC
sitting here
and stuff.
talking shit. I also own Shenmue 3. So
Nice.
Don't feel too bad.
But yeah, that's the actual main box art. It's just got the Kickstarter
Oh
slipcase.
yeah, I have that same.
I want the dust cover.
Yeah.
That looks so much better than the actual game.
I think. Okay, I have that, but it's a steelbook because Best Buy had the steelbook version. You could buy just the steelbook for $10, so I went to Best Buy and got it, even though I had the physical.
That's a really good way to sink it in the bottom of the ocean. That steelbook, the weight, that's like the only good.
It's
use
not even
that
steel.
has.
It's like not even real plastic. Even
that extra weight will make it sink.
Oh dear. But for
Where it
those
belongs.
people who want to play Shenmue 3 on Steam, it is still 66% off until November the 25th. So hopefully we'll get this podcast out just in time so you can get money off for that announcement to tell you guys. But yeah, so I already own it, but I haven't played it. And despite Chris's protestations there, I will play it. And hopefully love it. I'm going to bloody love it just because of that, actually. You know?
have you not played it at all yet?
Nope, not even touched it. Nope.
Okay. You know, this is as good an idea and as good a time as any. Maybe we should finally do the Shenmue journey for part 3 because I have not finished it at all.
Okay.
We did that it was like 19 episodes of the sideshow to get through Shenmue 2 between me, Marson, and Pal. So
we could do it. We could do this. That's we could do a stream
I'm game.
together,
That's the only way I'll sit down with it, probably.
Yeah.
So
sounds good. We'll get Antichrist on as
and
well. He's going to have to power through.
You're gonna get that collector's
Jesus.
edition, right? Right, Graham?
Oh yeah, I'm going to pick up the limited run collector's edition for $160 or however much it is. God.
Get all that DLC.
Oh.
Hear that waterfall song again.
I hate it. I hate you. I wish I could hate you to death. That was terrible.
I'll see you guys. That's me.
Okay. Before you go, Scotty, there was one other thing I picked up, which is a brand new Dreamcast release, Arcade Racing Legends. Yeah. So if you're a fan of the site and stuff, we have actually put up on our YouTube channel an unboxing of this because I got the Road Trip edition, which is one of the limited edition versions they put out on because it was a Kickstarter. So it comes with a CD, like a comes with like a little actual audio CD and like a limited certificate thing, and that's pretty much it. And the game, obviously. And but I'm working on a video review, so that video review should hopefully come out this week. I'm hoping. But yeah, I'll say right now, I like it, but there's a lot of flaws in it. So yeah,
really?
It's impressive. It's very impressive for an indie game. I mean, do you guys have any questions for me about the game, or are you?
I'm actually looking it up right now. I'm super interested in it. You can
still buy it, I believe. I actually have a copy coming to me because it showed up on Pixel Heart, I think is who made it.
Yes. So yeah, Pixel Heart, the developers, they actually have it on their website, so you can still buy it. You can't get.
Oh, they have the Crazy Taxi in it.
Yeah. So part of the thing about the game, it's called Arcade Racing Legends. They have a load of cars. From some of them are inspired by Sega games. So they've got like the Hornet from Daytona. They've got the Lancia Delta from Sega Rally. That's a smaller car. They've got the Lancia Stratos, which is the unlockable car from Sega Rally. They've got the Crazy Taxi vehicle. They've got some other cars, like some from movies. So they've got a car that looks very similar to the Batmobile from Batman and Batman Returns. The DeLorean from Back to the Future. I'm trying to think. They've got a car that looks very much like the Ghostbusters car, but weird. It's a bit weird. They can't use the official design, so they're all a bit tweaked a little bit. But clearly they are what they are. Yeah. But then they've got famous cars, like real life cars, like the Bugatti Veyron, the Ford GT. I think they've got.
They have licensed stuff in there,
but they're not. It's not licensed. It's not licensed. It's they've taken the model basically, but it's clearly
the great value version of it.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, you're looking at that's
great
clearly
value
Ford
podcast
GT.
Today.
This is pretty impressive. Like, what are you saying are the flaws? Because I'm looking at some footage of this, and it looks pretty good.
So, okay, I can say some of the flaws. So some of these, most of the flaws do not break the game. Just to let you know, they're not game breaking anyway, but they are little niggles, and the fact they're charging full price for a game makes you think they could have maybe tweaked it a little bit. So, for example, if you go into the first-person view where you see the hood of the car, some of the cars don't even show the hood, and some of them do, but the hood moves around, and some of them you can see a glitch where there's like a gap between the hood and the bottom of the screen, and you can actually see the wheels underneath, so it's kind of glitching as you're driving along.
That's crazy.
It's really weird. The computer AI does not break at all. Like, to go around corners, you can basically, the game is designed so you can drift around corners a bit, or if you change the settings, you can be a bit more precise, like an F1 car, not drifting. But you have to brake basically to go around corners. The AI will just, as soon as you start to brake, the AI will go woo, just around the corner past you. And you're like, dude, there's no way I can get around this corner. It's like a hairpin corner. There's no way you can get around without braking. They're just like, la, 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 la. So there's a couple of tracks where they've got a lot of corners on, and it's just like, I cannot.
Impossible to beat the computer.
Eventually you can. There's one track I did at least 30 times in a row and finally beat them. I was just like, Jesus, that was almost painful. But it is a fun game.
How'd your trigger finger feel after that?
Oh, that's another thing. You can set the triggers to be accelerator and brake, but actually A and B are accelerator and brake because they don't have analog acceleration or brake in it.
Wow.
Which isn't a glitch or anything in the game. That's how they must have designed it, but it's a bit weird that they don't have the analog triggers. So I've been using A and B mostly, to be honest, because I just hold it down.
I imagine it'd be easier to drift with that, maybe? Like, you'd be like essentially doing a sweep, maybe.
I don't know. But there are some really good things in the game. Just one other thing that actually did annoy me, but again, it doesn't break the game. The music is brilliant. The sound effects aren't so good. Like, there's sound effects when you hit the walls or hit another car, and they go between like someone smashing two trash can lids together, like two metal trash can lids together, like a ching, to a kind of comical boink sort of noise almost. And those are the only two sound effects you have. And you've got settings to change the music volume and the sound effects volume. I was like, oh, cool, I can just turn this down. Fantastic. No, doesn't turn it down. It turns down the announcer at the start. It goes 3, 2, 1, go. That will reduce. But the sound effects are there at the same level. I'm like, they're still there. Like, what? Which is just really weird. And also the rumble pack, vibration pack, you can barely feel it. And you can adjust it to be stronger, but most of the game you don't even feel it. And I'm like, again, it doesn't actually affect the gameplay. It's just one of those weird things. You're like, yeah, I realized this hasn't rumbled at all. Like, what is going on? It's one of those things.
Your pack?
Oh, I tested out 3 different packs on 3 different controllers, all into switching.
Oh,
none of them made a slight bit of a difference. So, yeah, because at first, like, oh shit, my rumble pack's broken. Oh god. No, it's not that at all. And I tried out 2 official Dreamcast ones and one of my non-official Dreamcast ones, and yeah, none of them were working with it, which is a bit of a gusset. But as I say, it's actually a very fun game. The gameplay is brilliant. Like, despite the AI sort of cheating a little bit.
I'm watching some of the one of the tracks over here where they're doing a drift challenge. It looks like that there's a mission mode of some sort where they're like, "Hey, go drift on this track. Don't hit any of the walls." And I'm watching this guy play, and the mechanics and just the way that it looks as he's drifting around these hairpins are so good. Like you can see the car, like the frame of the car moving back and forth as it's trying to adjust. Like, that's impressive.
Yeah,
it's definitely one of the best looking indie games. And
that's the thing, for an indie game.
I would say it's one of the best looking Dreamcast games. This looks
controversial.
Controversial? Like, what would you say is?
I'd say the best. I'm not saying it's the worst looking Dreamcast racing game, but I'd say there's way better actual official looking Dreamcast racing games.
There's some good ones.
There's some really good looking ones, but I think gameplay wise though, it's so solid. It's like I can't really fault it for those little flaws. Like I'm going to highlight them in my review, which I've done to you guys as well. But for the actual gameplay, it's so solid. I still finished it. I unlocked everything. And I was like, I actually want more of this. I would happily play more of this and, pick it up and play it and stuff. I'd like to see us bring it up at the Dreamcast Marathon next year, maybe, Scotty, if we're all...
It's going to be my question. Yeah, we need more stuff in the indie block. And, like, the Dreamcast was known for some of its racers, so maybe this would be a good one to...
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I won't go on too far of a side tangent, but like years that I've hosted physically at my house, and like Brett usually ends up staying a couple of days. He has in the past, and it's after those days that he's a big racing guy, so it's like post marathon, like everybody's gone and we're just hanging out being bros. It's those days that we find like good solid racing games, and we're like, why don't we do? And then we just forget, like, oh, whatever, we got Hydro Thunder and Pen, we're good. That's the whole racing library of Dreamcast. Cool. So it's we need to put other racing games in.
Yeah, mix it up, man.
Yeah. The 2-player mode in it is only literally 2 players, like 1-on-1. Yeah.
No, you froze up for a second.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry. So the 2-player mode is 1-on-1, which I think could be a fun challenge for us. But there's no AI characters in it. But there's that career mode that Chris just sort of mentioned, which, if you've ever played Metropolis Street Racer, it reminds me of a mini version of that, in that there's just like, they have challenges on certain tracks, like especially at the start. Yeah, it's like, go around this course without hitting any walls. And then it's like, go around this course without hitting any walls with a time limit. And it'll be like a different course. And then be like, try and race this car and stuff. So it kind of eases you into the game. I think it's really cool. But those drift challenges could be fun just for us to do. Like, so you can get the fastest time and stuff without hitting walls, basically.
They have the Batmobile in this.
Yes.
That's what he said, yeah.
Yeah, so
it sounds like it's how like Burnout would do Burnout 3. I don't remember. I haven't played any of them, but one of them would have like crazy, like at the time of that game being relevant, had I think some sort of record of the most DLC in any game outside of like Rock Band and Guitar Hero, because you would have like Time Machine Car and it's clearly the DeLorean, or it would be another one with like Ghost Hunting Vehicle and it's obviously Ecto 1, like stuff like that. But that's kind of what got me into. I've been on and off with racing games, but one that I was deep into was Ridge Racer R4. And what appealed to me with that was all the, clearly this is the Batmobile, but we can't call it the Batmobile. So I think that's cool that they have that, because that's a good way to bring in casuals as well too.
Yeah,
hell yeah,
a game they might not play normally.
Yeah, it's so if anyone's interested, it is actually a very fun game. It's got its flaws, but very fun. You can get it from Pixel Heart's website, but my review should hopefully be out soon, hopefully this week. So yeah, you can check it out more, I guess. Okay, and so that moves us on to our feedback forum of Doom.
Feedback of
So we missed this out last week, so we actually didn't have much feedback. But then something came in to us, which was actually from Emmett the Crab. And we tied in a lot of our questions and stuff and bits of commentary last week within our main features. But we saw this too late, Emmett the Crab, so apologies for that. But we've got it here now. So we were asking people about their launch nightmares, console launch nightmares, because that's something we discussed last week. And Emmett the Crab said, I was going to college in Japan for the Saturn launch. It was 50,000 yen, about $500 at the time. I saw one demoing Panzer Dragoon in a glass case and felt like it was too fancy and expensive for me. That would have been all my money for food for the quarter, so I bought a used Super Famicom instead. I finally got one around 1998 in the US. So yeah, I guess that's along the lines of the launch nightmares, in that he saw the Saturn, he wanted to get it, but was unable to because it would have been way too expensive, which is kind of gutting, I think, if you are really keen to try and get yourself hands on the latest console. But I mean, a used Super Famicom, hopefully it wasn't too expensive. I would imagine you get a decent chunk of games at that point, actually.
Yeah, I was trying to think, like, I don't think the initial launch of the Saturn had games bundled with it, but I don't remember, and I should probably have researched that going into today's conversations. But so assuming that's the fact, like, if you throw in a game that's $550 then or whatever, almost $600 after tax.
Yeah, I've got a thing in the UK. It wasn't, the original one wasn't bundled, because my friend got a launch Saturn. I think he bought Clockwork Knight. I don't think he even had like Virtual Fighter or anything. I think he had like just Clockwork Knight. Oh, and
That's
Wing Arms. He got Wing Arms as well. I don't know if that was launched. We got that soon after. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So yeah, thanks for that, Emmett. Thanks. I'm sorry we couldn't do it last week. We sadly missed it, but there we go. And with that, let's move on to Scotty Moe's Mailsack of Wonder.
Yeah, it's the Mailsack. We got the Mailsack. Beautiful Mailsack. Oh, nope, that's wrong. That's very wrong.
Yeah, we're going to open it up. And it's the Mailsack. Did that pick up?
It picks up some of it. It always cuts out just at the end.
I don't understand why. I'm going to keep talking, and then I'll play it maybe while I talk. It's the Mailsack, and while it picks it up ringing while I still talk, that makes as much sense as any other piece of technology does. Doesn't it? In the Discord, we actually missed this one, so we're going to bring it back. Mr. Haru asked us a couple weeks ago, has real-world knowledge of a thing ever hindered your ability to enjoy a game within the, quote, real world? Example, being in the military or government and judging how much quote-unquote Hollywood is put in the storylines of shooters or stealth games. So, I'll go first because a friend of mine's dad... I know someone who was a former FBI agent, and he hates the Die Hard movies because the FBI is portrayed so poorly in those. Like, they are borderline the enemy in both the first and second one. I can't remember. They're involved in the third one as well. But, like, the first movie, the two agents that come in are like, this is our circus now, or whatever, you know? Like, we're taking over. Like, that's not how... He was just mad because the FBI works with people, not just comes in and takes over. Like, that's not how law enforcement handles things as a group. Maybe it happens sometimes in real life, but, like, he cannot enjoy those because of how they portrayed.
Oh, man.
Die Hard still, those are fun movies, but they're Hollywood. You got to remember that. One that I thought of is I fucking hate Grandma's Boy because I know it's a joke in a comedy movie, but, like, watching that movie, I'm like, this is not how video games are made at all. And this isn't even funny. You don't... Graham, what do you do?
What is Grandma's
that movie? I love that movie.
Oh, God damn it.
I want to say it's the first Happy Madison creation.
What does that mean?
Yeah. I want to say it's the first Happy Madison movie or one of those of that production company of Adam Sandler's stuff, but it's essentially a group of guys. Yeah. This guy who ends up living with his grandma, and he's a game developer. But whenever you go to, like, the game dev studio, it's just dudes hanging out, sitting in beanbag chairs, looking at games that are totally not World of Warcraft. And there's one guy that's kind of the head dev who is... I hate this comparison, but he'd be like Sheldon on steroids. And is it Dax? What's his name? Who's married to? Oh shit! Let me just look this up. Sorry.
He's portrayed to be like the white Kojima. Like he sits in like this all white room, stainless steel appliances everywhere. Fucking, he's like the future vision of video games. He's a pompous asshole. He's like, if Kanye West made video games, that's what this guy would be.
God. Wow.
But no,
it's not Dax Shepard. I thought it was, but it's not.
Outside of what Scotty is saying is, I love that movie. It's stupid. It's dumb as shit. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just couldn't. My reactions to it are, anyone's rebuttal could be just, dude, lighten up. It's a movie. But it just annoyed me because I knew people that I still know people that bust their ass and make video games. And it's not, you don't just sit around in a goddamn dorm room and games get made.
Yeah.
So,
wow. I'm struggling to think of specific things, but there's a lot of like TV shows or movies that talk about video games just annoy me for that reason that like, I'm like, yeah, they don't know what they're talking about. Like I don't work in the games industry. I've never made a game myself, but as you said, like you, Scotty, I know people who have, and I know what it's like. And sometimes I'm just like, God damn it. This is kind of almost, okay, I don't have military experience either. This is like an almost opposite thing with one thing that really annoyed me about, specifically about Halo 2 and the battle rifle in Halo 2, which is weird. So it's almost a weird opposite thing in that the reason why the battle rifle... I watched a documentary about Halo 2. In fact, I think it was in the limited edition Halo 2, actually. They had this thing, they were talking about the differences while they introduced new weapons to the game and stuff, and they got rid of the combat like assault rifle, like the fully automatic rifle from the original game, and they changed it to the battle rifle, which is like a burst shot gun. And they said, yeah, because we worked with like more military professionals, and they showed like footage of them like working with how military units would go in formation. and the weapons that they use in real life is more accurately portrayed by this battle rifle. And I was sitting there going, it's a game set in the future with fucking aliens. You don't need to have current modern weapons. Like, what are you doing? Like, and for that reason, as I was playing Halo 2, I just every time I used a battle rifle, I was like, no, I don't like this gun. Screw this. Like, so, but for Halo 2, I just did not use that gun. I hated it. Like, and I was just like so mad. Because they got rid of my favorite gun, which is the assault rifle thing, and I was just like, "This is."
I don't
bullshit.
remember the assault rifle being taken out. I remember the battle rifle being offered to you in the beginning of the game because it was one of the first rifles you got. But I don't remember the assault rifle being taken out.
I am 90% sure in Halo 2 on the original Xbox they removed the assault rifle because I remember being so mad about that. We're gonna have to Google this, maybe.
I'm looking it up right now. You keep going.
Okay, but I mean, I can't really think of anything. There have been things of real world knowledge, though, in essence, for movies and games that have annoyed me. I can't really think of anything right now, though, which is really bugging me.
I thought of another one, I remembered I prepped an answer to this, but reading it now, it's just too angry, and I don't want to get into it. But I think most of us can relate to this. Listening on this show now, watching this later on. The Big Bang Theory. That TV show.
I hate that show.
That show.
I hate that show with a burning fucking passion.
Oh, yeah. Wow. What specifically, Scotty, are you just the way they portray
I know a real life Sheldon. I've been said that I'm like Sheldon. I have other friends that have been labeled as Sheldon. And no, Sheldon is not, well, yeah, he's not a real person, but the number one thing about him, as socially awkward as he is, he would not have the fucking fashion sense that he does in that show to match patterns and colors or anything that he wears in that. He would not talk to people the way he does. He, like, all right, I'll just fucking read what I have here. My notes that I had. Okay. The social awkwardness of the person that I know, I feel bad, but no one wanted to hang out with him. I was friendly with them as much as I could be, but sometimes people are too much because they don't understand social cues. They make it funny in Big Bang Theory, haha, lol. But someone like Sheldon would not have, I mentioned the fashion sense, to match everything like they did. His ego is there. Yes, that is, I'm pretty confident that's, they got that a little bit, but not the need to be accepted to that extent. My college buddy that I knew, I lost my place now. Let me see here. Okay, yeah. That's the thing. The genius is like, you meet a genius, they're on a different level, just different areas. But going back to my college buddy, his ego and his jokes were all Family Guy quotes and Office Space references, not his own, just quotes. The comic shop that I frequented, they changed their night for a certain tabletop game to avoid him and never told him when they rescheduled it to, so that he just wouldn't show up.
Wow.
So, like, I have other stories I could go into, but just like, if someone like Sheldon exists, and they do, you can't have a conversation with them because they can't lower themselves. You don't understand what they're saying half the time. Maybe this is generalizing, whatever, but it just made me so mad that everybody likes Sheldon for his quirks. No, they are different. Like, it just bothers me so much. And I recently watched the movie Ready Player One. How Mr. Holiday is portrayed in that movie, that actor, the best I've ever seen for like a nerd super genius. Because like his hair is a mess. He's like Einstein's hair was a mess because he didn't understand to fix that. Who cares? Like Holiday is awkward. He can't finish his sentences with people. He just can't make eye contact. Like he's in a different world because his brain is operating at a different speed than anyone else's. It's one of my favorite portrayals as like a game dev nerd super genius in a movie is I should have written down his name, but the guy who played Holiday in the Ready Player One movie. But there's exceptions to this, like Cliffy B, who made Gears of War. He acts like a rock star, but he makes video games. Like there's, Kojima is just weird and bizarre, but you just want to talk to that guy. And like he hangs out at parties and stuff. Like there's exceptions, but I hated Big Bang Theory because of all, first of all, they're all professors. unless they're professors at like the highest paying school in blank city, New York City, or San Francisco, wherever the fuck they are, professors are not doing that well. Like, it's not to live with roommates and have all that shit, and I don't fucking care. I hate the Big Bang Theory.
Garbage.
Yeah. You have got a point about Sheldon, because I did actually used to work when I worked at a big data company. There was a guy there who basically was a Sheldon, and like with the fashion sense and stuff, he tried to mimic people's fashion sense, wearing jeans and like sort of trendy shirts or whatever. But yeah, he never pulled it off. Like, he always got it slightly wrong, and you could not have a conversation with that guy at all. And he would try and fit in, but again, like, he wouldn't understand. He'd try and fit in with jokes and stuff, because he'd hear people telling each other jokes and they'd be laughing. But yeah, he wouldn't really understand the joke. He'll sort of, it's one of those people, like, someone will say a joke, and like, bring out the punchline, and then he'll explain the punchline. It's like, yeah, dude, that's why everyone's laughing. They understood the joke. You don't need to explain that to everyone. But he just didn't understand that you don't explain the joke. And there's one time I made a off the cuff joke. It's actually a quote from a British TV show called Peep Show. It's like a joke within that show.
Sexy.
Yeah. And yeah, he thought I was being serious. So I'll just give you the reference for what it is. Basically, in that show, there's this guy who he's kind of awkward in social situations. He's not like a genius or anything. He's just an awkward guy. But he's just broken up from, I think, his marriage to his wife. And his roommate's trying to get him to go out and stuff, and like go on a date and stuff. And he's like, is this date going to be sexy? Is she going to be too sexy? And then like he walks into this pub and he's like, yeah. She's just too sexy for me. I'm going to have to go home. She's too sexy. Just tell her I love her. She's too sexy. And then like walks out the pub basically. he can't handle being around an attractive person basically, because he thinks so low of himself. And I made a reference to that. Like, there was something someone was talking about. Like, this is back when I was single. Someone was like, "Oh yeah, we should all go out as a group. I could bring some of my female friends along." And I was like, "She's probably too sexy. Just tell her I love her." Yeah, and this all just made a little joke about that, because I knew my friend watched the Peep Show. And then this guy at work, we nicknamed him Jogger. His nickname was Jogger. We didn't nickname him that. He actually introduced himself to me as Jogger. He's always been called that. But yeah, he was just like. He's just like, is she too sexy? Like, he just kept coming up and saying that to me. I'm like, dude, like, that's not. It's like, no, I can't really explain to you why this is not funny right now. It's just, he just didn't understand like what was going on.
I want to make it clear that I have no problem with people like this. I don't think less of them, but it bothers me personally how Big Bang Theory tries to make it seem like, as awkward as these people are, that they are lovable and like relatable and all that crap. And it would bother me more, because everybody would be like, "Oh, now I know who you remind me of. You remind me of Leonard on the Big Bang Theory." And I'm just like,
yeah. Speaking of, I'm not digging at Jogger. Like, I was actually friends with him. You're right. I think Big Bang Theory does not portray people, like even just like casual nerds, in the right way either. It's
because apparently our lives is just World of Warcraft and Star Trek quotes.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of games that have really been ruined for me, though. I could only ever think of movies, because with the game you can just turn it off and you're done with it.
Yeah, true.
But do you think of any there, Chris?
I mean, I got this question for the Discoverse podcast, but I'll briefly go into it. My experience being in the military and working with the government, and also having some sort of connection with other 3-letter agencies, is that most, especially high-budget video game developers, they do the smart thing. They get military advisors to assist them in making their video games. So, like, the one thing you got to understand is, like, plot line versus, like, the tactics and the equipment and all the bullshit that they have. There's a lot of assistance that they get from people who have been in the infantry in other three-letter agencies. So, like, the shit that you see in Call of Duty, even though that's like mostly run and gun, a lot of the things that they're holding, that they're equipped with, is real world type bullshit. Even some games, especially the squad based games, have been very, very accurate to the point where I would say there is a game back in, I believe, 2003. Maybe it's a little bit later than that, but it was for the original Xbox, and it was right after the invasion in Iraq and Afghanistan. It may have also been right after Fallujah, where this one company, I forget the name of, but they created a game called First to Fight, where they got actual advisors and Marines from 3.5 and 2.5 to come in and tell them, hey, this is how we do our tactics. This is how we fight the squad-based movements. And in that game, they go into, you can direct, you're a Lance Corporal squad leader, which is super impressive to me, because usually when you're playing the leader in a military shooter, you're usually like an officer or a high-ranking enlisted guy, and they were just like, no, you're a fucking PFC Lance Corporal, like the lowest of the low, and just small unit leadership and tactics. And you can tell your guys, hey, we're going into wedge formation because we don't want to get shot from all around. Column formation so that we can move quickly. It's very, very interesting how they do it. And call for fire, it's very, very good. I would say that along the more espionage type games, that's when it gets a little bit wild, because a lot of that shit is based in fantasy. Like, you have your Tom Clancy's and shit like that, and everyone in the community knows that that's bullshit. Nobody necessarily gets upset. It's like, it's very much dramaed up, because a lot of things that happen within those agencies can be very mundane and boring. So it doesn't necessarily ruin it for me. I can't just sit there and be like, oh, I can't play this. But it's believable enough, because they're taking a lot of the aspects that other professionals are giving them, and they're making a story with it. Whereas in Hollywood, I have a hard time watching Hollywood movies that portray the military. Like, one of the best movies that I saw portraying the military was Battle of LA, and that was an alien movie.
Oh, yeah.
That one was actually like very, very, I don't want to say true, but like the entire culture within the Marine Corps being portrayed in that movie is very, very similar. You have a lot of shit bags. They talked about PTSD, people dealing with shit, chain of command hierarchy, everyone hating the fucking LT having to prove himself. I'm like, okay, yeah, that sends a message home. But like, you watch The Hurt Locker and you're like, fuck this movie. This movie's fucking stupid.
I thought you were gonna say Shin Godzilla, because that one's a big time satire on Japanese government and Japanese politics, but not much happens in the majority of that movie. So it's like, I shudder to say this, but it's like a more realistic take on if Godzilla started destroying the major city, because like, yeah, their government would be sitting there and discussing what to do rather than trying to actually fight the beast.
Exactly.
That's the Cliff Notes version of Shin Godzilla, right, for everybody. But
I've actually just thought of something that does ruin in a lot of video games. I think, for my limited real world knowledge, I feel does not work, and that's every fucking game that's added in a bow and arrow, and it's a one-hit instant kill on every enemy. Like that. But like, I'm sorry, but like a sniper rifle or like, a shotgun versus a bow and arrow in real life. Yes, you can kill someone with bow and arrow with one hit if you get it on the heart or the head. But getting them in the leg or like the side, no, they'll fall down in pain. But if you shoot someone in the like, if you shoot someone, you're more likely to do more damage. Basically, it drives me nuts that in games you can like shooting someone 5 times, they know it won't die. But out of bow and arrow, twang. Dead I'm
pretty proud of developers not making the shotgun have stopping power. Like when you shoot somebody with a shotgun, they just fall over. It's not like they get blown backwards 30, 40 fucking feet. It's just like, boom, oh, I have now 30 holes in my chest. Let me lay here and die.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So yeah, Hollywood movies is bullshit with that, where people just fly backwards from getting shot with them. But dumb. Yeah, I still think in video games like the two new Tomb Raider games, like, yeah, I'm sorry, it's just not realistic.
I just thought of some. I thought of another one, but it's more with anime, because it's aggravating how poorly instrumentalists are ever portrayed in any type of media, be it guitarists, drummers, bassists, singers they can get right because you can dub that shit in later. But and so with that, that's why I'm a really big fan of the Beck manga and the Beck anime. Not Beck as we know him with I'm a loser baby, so why don't you kill me? Not that Beck. But they're called Beck Mongolian Chop Squad. It's a fun, goofy, lighthearted slice of life anime, but like you could like stare at the cover and like, oh, that is like that's the bridge of the guitar, that's the neck piece, like this is each string, like everything on there. And another one that's good with that, and I'm sure this is all within reason because when you draw and write an anime later on, you're recording the audio. But the another slice of life anime called K-On!, which is about a bunch of high school girls that create an after school band essentially to keep a club together. But they are actually playing a lot of the chords and beats and stuff that they you hear in there. So that it's probably why you don't see a lot of like, other than Scooby-Doo, like a lot of bands show up in cartoons and stuff. And maybe not as factual with like Metalocalypse and stuff, but stuff like that is more entertaining to me when they've clearly done their research. Like that might be what drew me to Fooly Cooly at first, because like Haruko's like holding a Rickenbacker bass. I'm like, oh, that says Rickenbacker on it. I'm gonna watch this show, like stuff like this, stuff like that. So, yeah.
I've got an appreciation when they actually show bands in anime playing their instruments, and then you watch the guitarists actually playing the notes, and they're like one for one. Because there's some of them where they just like, you hear a lick going on, and they're still playing C. So I'm just when they're actually like doing the licks, I'm just like,
their hands are just like this.
Yeah,
they're soloing somehow.
I hate that.
Garbage. For listeners, I just stroked my ukulele.
Sexy.
Enjoy that.
That's not a euphemism, but yeah.
No, ukulele.
So that's a good question, Mr. Haru. I think we could actually probably do a whole bloody show on that, to be honest.
We sure could. Are you kidding me?
So maybe next week, or sideshow. But should we move on to the next question? Unless you guys got anything else to add?
No, I'm good with that. I thought of stuff as we were talking. That was all. I think we all had good stuff to bring up with that. Turkey chasing TJ says, he asks, if you could make a console, what would you name it and what capabilities would it have? I'll answer for everyone. Dreamcast 2.
I was genuinely thinking that, actually.
Oh man.
Yeah. The Sega Mega Sphere box, which plays all Sega consoles. There you go. That's a thing.
Yeah, whatever that South Park game was, like
Mega Comosphere or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Drake and Josh option, and I'm gonna say the Game Sphere. Make that shit a reality. It's Game Sphere.
I saw that recently. It's actually a boombox that you can buy. This could be another whole podcast topic, really, if we want to do like our elevator pitch for a game console.
Maybe we should.
Man, just let Microsoft buy Sega so that the Dreamcast 2 happens, and somehow I'm picturing this thing with like 8 controller ports and Wi-Fi antennas coming out of it or something. I don't know.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm not sure I could answer. I'd love. Okay, genuinely answering the question though, I'd love to have something along the lines of a controller with like the VMU sort of thing, like a pull-out portable thing, but like a better quality one that recharges as it plugged in, and maybe it could be like more color based, I guess, like play sort of almost Game Boy style games on it, like more full games, if that makes sense. Because I know you get the Switch, which is a portable handheld console, but this is a little bit different. I want something that acts like a VMU when it's in the controller, but you can also have mini games attached to it that work with the game, So playing Skies of Arcadia 2, which should definitely happen on this console, put it out, get to play like a little mini Skies of Arcadia 2 mini game, like you did on the original, but just better quality. That's something I'd love to see. I'd love to see that happen again.
Yeah, you don't see risks like that. So your console is you want a better VMU.
That's just one of the features of my awesome console, and I will give you all the other features next time. Again.
I would argue, do you have a cell phone? Because that could be what you want.
No, fuck off.
For
fuck
a console.
Off. No.
Jesus, I was just saying.
Sorry. No. I need something with buttons, tactile, physical buttons with like a little D-pad. I don't want to play a touchscreen stupid game. I want to have a nice little thing. A little bit bigger than that, maybe. It could be a bit bigger than that, bit of quality, bit of colour. Yeah. 16-bit in there. I don't know. 16-bit visuals playing in it. I'd be happy with that.
So what would that be called? What would the item that you want? Would they just call it another VMU or what?
The extra VMU, VMU Plus, Ultra VMU, something like that.
The explosive VMU.
Yeah, the explosive sold out VMU.
Yeah. Oh man, did you have one, Chris?
I do. Actually, I have two. Both of them serve pretty much the same purpose. This is in the same vein as like the Polymega, because Polymega is supposed to be focusing on, I want to say, what is it, Gen 4 or Gen 5 CD-based consoles. So it's trying to play Saturn, it's trying to play PlayStation, take a step back, Sega CD and Neo Geo, PC Engine 2 or PC Engine CD. I would like to see one dedicated for, I believe it's either Gen 6 or Gen 7 consoles, where it's the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube. I believe like having a HDMI output, like a high-res HDMI output for those consoles, would be great. Also, I would like a more affordable or a better version of like a handheld HDMI upscaler. So we're talking WonderSwan, we're talking Neo Geo Pocket Color, we're talking about Game Gear, so that I don't have to either buy a $500 product with the analog pocket with all their stupid shitty adapters, or run the garbage ass Retron 5 with the Game Gear adapter, because that shit does not work well. Like just something that is honest and reliable and can play more than just Game Boy shit. Like I want to play my Neo Geo shit. I want to play my WonderSwan collection, because I haven't had a chance to really play Guilty Gear Petit, because the WonderSwan 1 runs off of one fucking battery, which you can say that's impressive, but the battery life on it is absolute garbage. Not having a backlight is also a detriment to that fucking console as well. So it's really difficult to play some of these games when people have just pretty much forgotten about them, because there's not really, and I understand it, there's not really a market for it. People who play WonderSwan and people who play Neo Geo Pocket are us. We're the only weirdos that fucking play that shit. So
and keep Apicary.
Yeah.
So can you not plug it in and play it? Like, like with the Game Gear, you could plug it in the power supply and play it, run it off the power mains, because Game Gear had terrible battery life famously as well. Mm-hmm. So can you not play it that way, or is it battery only, literally?
WonderSwan's battery only, I think.
Oh wow!
Like I could go get it.
Is it one AA, or what is it?
It's a single AA.
Okay. Huh. I didn't know that.
I didn't know how small the WonderSwan was until I got one from Japan, because I think that it was a Japan exclusive. And like there's some interesting games that are on there outside of the only Guilty Gear games that were portable at the time. It's got some exclusive Final Fantasy games on there as well, which I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there might, and I could be wrong, there might be a Sonic game under WonderSwan.
There's one on the Neo Geo Pocket Color, which is a handheld I love, and that is the reason I was looking at that analog pocket to play those again. But then they sold out quick; they're impossible to get right now. But I kind of more than convinced myself I don't need it, because they don't have, at least what they've said, they don't have an add-on for that clicky stick that the Neo Geo stuff is known for. Mm-hmm. And B, it's just not affordable. But I think also what you're saying you want is essentially what the Polymega is, but for a handheld. So you want like a screen that you can click on side things, or maybe a bottom thing on the bottom, like what the Switch does with Joy-Cons, but you want that for a handheld for everything.
Pretty much. Like, I'm a selfish individual. And run back because no, there is not a Sonic game on the WonderSwan. However, there was a bunch of Final Fantasy games. There is a Front Mission game, which I don't know if you guys know what Front Mission is, but it is a strategy-based RPG with giant ass mechs, and I love the Front Mission series. There was also the Rockman EXE games, were also somehow ported over to the WonderSwan. Don't know how that worked, but that sounds dope.
Is the WonderSwan the one that you can play right or left-handed? Am I thinking of the right thing?
Yes. So the WonderSwan was like really weird because it's got.
You want to go get yours?
Yeah, sure, whatever. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay. While he's grabbing that, I'll grab my Neo Geo Pocket Color just to show.
I will sit here like a good boy.
Fantastic. I gotta remember which drawer it is in, though. We can edit all of this out with the magic of editing. This is a Neo Geo Pocket Color.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I went that route instead of the old Game Boy Advance. But the what's nice, can you hear that? Is the mic picking that up?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a clicky stick. And the there were also some controllers not just for that's got a good scuff on the screen. Not just for Neo Geo stuff, but they put out controllers. This runs on 2 AA's, but it has a lithium in it. Gets your good old cartridges and stuff. What's in there right now? Samurai Showdown 2. That one introduced me to King of Fighters, actually. That console did. There was I don't think I have it anymore, but they did. Yeah, there was like a Mad Catz equivalent controller that had the clicky stick. Here's Chris. Chris is coming back now.
That's such a good console. I love the Neo Geo Pocket Color. It's got great games. That Sonic game is great.
Yeah.
So this is the WonderSwan.
Yeah. So for listeners, it's a console that it is a handheld. It's got like that iMac see-through blue color.
Oh yeah.
And but it has like D-pads that would be face buttons on top of each other, like on one side, whichever way you're holding.
So it's like the only games that I have on this is Guilty Gear Petit 1 and 2. I haven't gone out and got the other ones, but as you can see, it's got it's super tiny. Like it's super tiny. And there's a port. There's a port right over here, and it doesn't look like a power port or anything that you put an AC adapter. It looks like almost like a USB port that you can stick in there.
Maybe 2-layer stuff, like a cable.
But it runs off of a single battery. These are the carts. They're super tiny.
Oh wow!
Look at that. I mean, like they're wide, but they're super thin.
Yeah.
And it just slides in there. The visuals on this thing is pretty shit as far as like obviously not having a backlight sucks, but like I have to sit even when I was playing my Game Boy outside, like at least I can see what's happening. With this, I have to be immediately under a light in order to see anything that I'm doing. I don't know if there is some sort of functionality where I hold it sideways like this, because you have your X D-pad and then you have your Y D-pad over here. So I'm assuming like if you were playing a game like Tetris, you'd hold it sideways like this.
Oh.
But I'm not 100% sure outside of that. It's a very interesting piece of hardware.
Yeah, I've never played one, but that's why I always assumed that's what they've done that style controller on. Yeah, I don't know. I've never played one, so I can't actually say for certain with any confidence. But
the last thing I'll say about Neo Geo, because Chris is back, the Neo Geo is what actually introduced me to King of Fighters. The Pocket, because that was like my brother. I got the Sonic bundle. My little brother got the Match of the Millennium bundle.
With the Capcom versus SNK. Yeah. That game is super good. I love that game. It's
pretty good. And it also has like mini games galore. It's like the rival schools of Neo Geo Pocket Color with the mini games in it.
So I think for my Neo Geo, I have Match of the Millennium. I have Samurai Showdown 2, which also fantastic game.
Right now. Yeah, on there. That's literally what's in this.
Sonic Front Mission, not Front Mission, Metal Slug First Mission. I'm looking for second mission. I don't remember what my 5th game was, though. I want to say that it's another fighting game, but I'm not 100% sure. But no, I love my Neo Geo Pocket Color. It's great. I just wish that there was a mod available to input a backlit screen. And the other thing that sucks about it is that not only do you need batteries for it to run, but you also need to keep that
the
clock, the lithium watch battery in there, because it runs off of a timer for some reason. There's it keeps time in the background, and it will not let you play the game unless that thing is active and charged and shit. So,
wow,
it's just a weird quirk about the Pocket Color.
Okay, damn. Sorry. Yeah, I wish I picked up a Pocket Color back in the day, because I remember when it came out and I was actually really interested in it.
As with all Neo Geo stuff, they're not cheap.
Yeah.
They're going up in price now too. Like before, you can get one for like $50-$60. Now I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm looking it up right now, actually.
Yeah. So TJ, that's our answer.
Oh yeah, we're answering a question. Oh, actually, very quickly, Chris, did you look up about Halo 2's weapons?
Yes, you are right. There is no assault rifle in there.
There is not. No, I just remember being so mad about that, and I think I was bitching on like the Sega Nerds forums back in the day, going, "Oh, God damn it!" They got rid of and they changed the pistol as well, so the pistol couldn't be zoom anymore and stuff. And again, that was because it wasn't realistic. I was like, yeah, okay, it's a freaking sci-fi game. You don't need to be realistic. You talk about realistic weapons, then you've got like a freaking plasma sword and aliens that can cloak themselves. What are you talking about? What's wrong with you people?
Yeah. I do remember the drama behind the pistol, because people were arguing that the pistol was essentially a better sniper rifle in the first game.
I used to watch, it was on G4, that's how long ago it fucking was, but on G4 they used to have something called Arena, I believe, and they had a no shit tournament for Arena for Halo 2. It was like a huge 2-hour event, and they had pools, and they would take the best 2 players from each of the pools into the final major money match. And they were on this one map where there's this dome in the center, and there's all this wasteland on the outside. And the motherfucker who won by 25 kills by just sitting in the back of the fucking map next to the wall, taking his pistol and just sniping everyone out. It was insane.
Campers.
It was insane.
Because you also, I don't think you ever needed ammo for it. It always had at least a bullet or something, right?
No, you had to pick up ammo for it.
Yeah,
you had quite a bit of ammo for it as well. And this guy, I don't know how many times he had to reload, but he was nasty. He was super dope at that game.
I remember that map as well. I can't remember what it's called though, but I know exactly which map you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great map, great game.
Nice.
Anyway, sorry. Yeah, let's move to the next question, I guess.
Yeah. Mithril Fox asks in the Discord, these are all in the Discord, if you could own a dedicated Sega arcade cabinet of any one game, what game would it be?
Oh, I've got 3 games that come to mind. God damn it.
Same.
4 games. 4 games come to mind.
I'll kick mine off because my gut says either House of the Dead 2 or Virtua Cop 2.
Okay.
But I don't have much experience with Virtua Cop 3, so part of me wants to say that. But I really, if there was no maintenance involved somehow, I would probably want a racing game such as Daytona 2 Battle on the Edge. But my gut says Virtua Cop 2, so I'll go with that. Even though I could mimic that with my Saturn and stunner guns, but So what do you got, Graham?
So off the top of my head, there's the Star Wars arcade game, which is brilliant. The pod racing game with the actual freaking proper pod controls.
Hell yeah, that shit is so dope.
Cool. House of the Dead 1, because that is my favourite light gun game of all time. I love that game so much. And also Sega Rally. Mm-hmm. I love Sega Rally. I don't know if this
is there Sega Rally arcade cab? I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah. Literally. That's how the game started. It was an arcade game. I remember the Sega Rally 2 arcade game had a cab that actually could move, and I can't remember if Sega Rally 1 did, but if there was a moving arcade cabinet, I would get that for Sega Rally 1. But Sega Rally is still my favourite racing game. I love it, and I would happily play that. So yeah, those are mine. Sorry, Chris.
Oh, I've just somehow never seen this. Yeah, I just looked up the Sega Rally thing. There's a stand-up version as well.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
that's not so much fun.
I've got a few. Number 1, F-Zero AX. I just linked this to you guys in the chat.
Yeah.
So this is like when Sega was helping develop the F-Zero games. They were using it was developed by Sega's amusement division department. It essentially, you get into the cockpit, you buckle yourself in, and as you're driving, the seat tilts with you. So it's this high speed. It was at MagFest. It's this high speed racing game. If you're not familiar with the F-Zero series, this game is fucking bonkers. This cab is absolutely fucking bonkers. After that, I'm a huge Rival Schools fan. I would want Rival Schools, and I would also want a copy of Guilty Gear Accent Core. I don't know if Accent Core came out on cab. Just pretty much the newest version of it. I'm almost positive Plus R didn't come out, but I'd want Guilty Gear Accent Core on like a Naomi or some shit like that. And then also like if I could get one of the XR cabs from Japan, just ship that baby over here because that's my favorite fighting game of all time. So just bring that shit over. That should have been like the obvious selection for me. Rival Schools, Guilty Gear, F-Zero.
Yeah. I thought you could definitely have at least one fighting game in there, but okay. I've actually just thought of one other one which I completely forgot about. I've only ever played it once. I can't remember where it was. It might have been at Sega World in the UK when that existed.
I know what you're going to say.
Do you? Do you though? Really?
Are you going to say Supersonic?
No.
Or Sega Sonic?
No. I'm not going to say that at all. I was going to say G-Lock. G-Lock Air Battle. They had a version of G-Lock which you're in this cab, which literally, I don't know if it did full 360 motion, but you're like almost in this little ball thing. So you've got this little ball, but like the amount of tilting and movement you had in it was absolutely insane. And I've never seen it since. I only saw it there. And I was just like, that was.
Are you talking about the R360?
I don't know. I don't know what it's called. What?
That's what it looks like.
Oh. Yes, I think that was it. Yeah. It was nuts. From memory, it like tilted really far forward and backwards and left and right. And I genuinely felt like I was in a freaking plane, like flying around going, oh my God. Like, obviously the graphics were like 16-bit visuals or something back in the day, but I was just still like, this is the best thing I've ever done. And my friend was playing it as well. Like, the queue was massive. So we only played it once. And I was just like, that was sick, dude. Let's go and play something else.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was so much fun. It was so good.
Graham wants the ease and leisure of puking in the comfort of his own home.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I can only imagine young Graham thinking, "This is perfection. Games are never going to get better than this."
They haven't, damn it. I was right. This was the pinnacle of everything. But yeah, imagine playing that drunk. That'd be fun. That'd be a fun party game to play.
Not drunk. Not drunk.
I can just see it now. Somebody's like, "All right, hand me my beer," while this thing's spinning around and it's just broken glass.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty good. And insert TJ saying, "I own the Sonic the Fighters arcade cab." I'm saying he would say that. He didn't say that, but he does. So, last one though, here by Mr. Dr. Dizzle asks, who would you want as a guest character in a Fighters Megamix 2? So Fighters Megamix, for those that don't know, was essentially the Smash Brothers of Sega on the Saturn. It didn't get an arcade release, I don't believe, but it had Virtua Fighter characters and Fighting Vipers characters, in the arena type thing, but they also threw in the Daytona Hornet car. They had Bean and Bark from Sonic the Fighters. They had Janet from Virtua Cop, who could whip out a gun, and that was the nerfed special in the game, pretty much. You could fight as a slab of meat, a la Rayman with floating hands and arms. Hands and feet. And even the AM2 Palm Tree was a character that you could play as.
Yeah. Was there a bear?
It's such a great... Yes. Yeah, he would hold a beach ball, or he had a panda mode. He did not actually have any moving animations. He would just like... Yeah, he was just float around at you. I think recently this game was streamed by a buddy of ours, but this might need to get This might be neat. Oh, dude, why have we not done Fighters Mega Mix as a Thursday night throwdown yet?
I don't know.
Not done that yet.
Does it do it this Thursday?
I'm yelling at myself because I haven't thought of this before.
I could be up for that. I love that
game. Well, this Thursday's Thanksgiving, so I don't think that'll happen. But
not over here. It's not. I'll do a British one. Fantastic.
There you go. For Fighters Mega Mix 2, though, man, I don't know. At first, because it was mentioned earlier, I almost want to say like throw Bug in there, but I want somehow the most ridiculous. Like I want a Sonic ring item box as a fighter or something just absurd. Like those are the characters I like in Smash Brothers, like PD Piranha or the Piranha Plant, and like things that don't make sense, you know. So if anyone else has one, go for it first. I'm gonna look around for a second.
Kazuma Kiryu. I'd go with Kazuma Kiryu and Majima. They would fit right fucking in.
I'd like to see Samba, like Samba de Amigo in there.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Samba de Amigo would be quite a good one.
I'm gonna add to your having Samba de Amigo in there. Have a code where he disappears and it's just maracas fighting someone.
That would be quite funny. Or just one giant maraca.
Maybe, yeah.
What about having like Axel, Blaze, and Adam from the Streets of Rage?
Yeah. Actually, that would be cool. I'd love to see them. What about one of the Crazy Taxi cars?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was going to say an Echo Fighter, a taxi instead of the Hornet or something. You know?
Hell yeah. We can have fucking what's his name? Rio from Shenmue come in as a joke.
Yeah.
He'd be the joke character because he can't fight.
That would be good. Oh yeah. See, you'd have to. I'd want them to add how the Versus games and a lot of other games have a helper, an assist character. So you could have like Ryu as an assist character, just plows him over with his forklift.
Exactly. That'd be
or oh god, I want this to happen now. Or like Ryu comes in and you just watch him stare at a Gashapon, put money in, and then turn it, and then just a waterfall of Gashapon falls on your opponent.
That would be
hell
funny.
Yeah.
I want this to happen.
That'd be fucking stupid.
I'd love to see something crazy like Echo the Dolphin being a fighter in the game.
Yeah,
just busting it out.
How would that work? Like, would Echo somehow have like bipedal feet made for him?
He'd just be hopping. I was imagining he'd be hopping around, just like doing backflips, and like kick him. And
Echo would
his
just
kicks
use
and backflips.
their flipper to smack, and like you could do anti-air by doing backwards flips, or you could just get absolutely fucking ridiculous and throw him in a mech. Echo the Fighter has had enough.
That would be quite funny.
This is all great. These are all great.
Gold. I really hope Sega is paying attention to this podcast.
Yeah, they're listening.
But they're falling it away from things that they don't want because they don't like money.
Right. Yeah. I think my answer is, and I'm going to kind of steal this from Sonic and All-Star Racing Transformed, a VMU as a fighter.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, or even go even crazier, and it's like two VMUs connected to stand up properly in a trench coat. No,
that would be amazing. Like if the character just walks on with like a hat and trench coat, and pulls it apart. It's just two VMUs. Come on, then. Yeah, like two little kids in like a trench coat.
Yeah.
Oh, I can picture this. This is
God damn. I want this game.
Why can't any of us code? We need to learn to make games between us.
I mean, we know how Kickstarter works. That's all we need to do.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Totally.
Then we hire somebody afterwards.
Yeah, that Kickstarter just makes the games for us, surely.
Yeah, what's Deep Silver doing? Nothing, right?
Exactly.
That's great. Wow. Do you guys have any others?
Well, to be honest, I would love to see most Sega characters in there, but no, I'm good. I'm going to stop there because, yeah.
Yeah, just the more ridiculous, the better.
Yeah.
That is. Oh yeah.
I was just gonna say you just need a handful of serious characters like Kiryu and Akira from Virtua Fighter, but then all the ridiculous characters to unlock. That's what made Fighters Mega Mix so much fun. But there we go.
Yeah. I'm just starting to picture now different attacks and like special screens and stuff of like Man, I can't. Okay, I got to stop while I'm ahead. So anyway, that is going to do it for the listener questions.
We got half of that.
Nice.
That's gonna do it for the listener question.
Beautiful.
Works. And that moves us on to our picks of the week, where we talk about something we've been playing, watching, doing, something in the entertainment world that we think you people at home might enjoy as well. These aren't necessarily the best things out there, but we are having fun with them. So we're going to talk about it and spread the love, as it were. So to crack us off, Scotty, what is your pick of the week?
I just saw this on there.
Uh-huh.
I can't believe they made a documentary out of this.
So everybody remembers and knows how much I love the movie Monster Squad, the Monster Squad. There is a documentary called Wolfman's Got Nards, a documentary. And I'm not going to spend too much time on it, because if you've not seen the movie, you won't care. I mean, the movie there's a documentary on, but we watched it last night, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of passion in that fan base. It's a movie that gained a cult following decades after the fact, because people realized it's not Goonies, and it came out the same year as The Lost Boys. But Wolfman's Got Nards is actually made by a good bit made by the star of the movie, and I forget his name, who played Sean. I could probably just look on the back here. Derp, 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 derp. Oh, maybe not. It's really hard to read. Tiny things. Shane Black? I don't know. Seth Green's in it. Adam Goldberg, creator of the Goldbergs, is in it.
No way.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny that he's in it, because there are so many episodes, and they use clips of the show where he has characters in the Goldbergs say Nards. Like, it's a reference to this movie. But no, Wolfman's Got Nards is fun. It's really cool, and it's unfortunate that it took this long for that movie to gain a type of following that it should have had from the outset. But it's cool. If you like the Monster Squad, I definitely recommend this documentary. You might have a little bit of a hard time finding it. If I show you guys the Blu-ray, it is... Well, let me just show you the Blu-ray. Here's the front. There's the back.
Ooh.
It's a mirror.
It's not blue.
It's a black mirror.
Yeah, it's not blue. Are all Blu-ray movies blue? Where's my Blu-ray? I've only got a few.
This is
movies.
very much bootleg. Like, yeah, we might have to contact somebody, but we enjoyed it. But if you were to look at this case long enough, is that a black one that you're holding up there, Graham?
It looks silver. It's just silver. In the UK, okay. Blu-rays are apparently not blue. This is the official release of The Martian.
The back of this is definitely solid black instead of blue or silver, and the artwork is definitely not centered on the disc. It looks okay, but when Rachel showed this to me, I'm like, I don't think this is legit, honey. But it's still good. So if you can find it out there, what's interesting, and appropriately enough, the DVD version of Monster Squad kind of happened as a result of the fan base, because it just wasn't out there. It didn't do well. Nobody cared. So you had to have the VHS, and that was it. It kind of got made because of the demand, which is funny because it's very hard to find this documentary, and super odd that she found it and it sold out so quickly. So if you can find it some way, shape, or form, Wolfman's Got Nards is a decent documentary on a fun movie.
Okay.
I've got a movie which is kind of a black background to it.
It's still silver.
It's quite it's darker compared to my other ones.
Says the colorblind man.
Says yes. Yeah. Don't listen to me.
None of my Blu-rays are blue. I didn't know that was actually really a thing. Okay. Whoops.
All right, I took a picture of it and I'll send it to you guys in the Discord, but we can move on.
Yeah, cool. Nice. No,
unless you guys have any questions about it at all.
So it's basically just a documentary about how the movie was made. Is that correct, or like
more about the fan base around it, and also how it was made? But like it has all stars in it that made the guy who did Shape of Water did the creature costume in this.
Oh,
the creature from the Black Lagoon, the Gill Man, and like other people who went on to do It and Predator and other things that like big movies had a hand in this film, and it shows with the. I know you aren't a fan of it, Chris, but you got to admit that the creature effects for all the monsters are really good in this movie, though.
Yes.
So it's just really cool to see who was part of it, and it. If you watch the documentary and you're a fan of it, it begs the question, like, yeah, why didn't this do well? But there are some parts I will not get into because it's kind of spoilers, because Rachel's and my reactions to the marketing that they tried for this are just, how the fuck do you think that would work? And I can't explain it without
getting into the film.
Yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. But it's fun.
That sounds cool. As we discussed on another podcast, I've never seen Monster Squad, even though I thought I had, and then we discussed what I thought it was, and it was not that movie. So I still need to see that movie first.
That might be a better picture of how the Blu-ray looks to you guys, I just said.
Okay.
It's wild.
Yeah, that is really weird. Yeah, it doesn't... I don't know. I can't tell if it's legit or not, because...
I've never tried to burn DVD or Blu-rays, so I don't know what a BDR looks like. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing, to be honest. But yeah, Chris, you got any comments or questions?
No, not on that.
Fair enough.
We did a sideshow on the Monster Squad. Chris was on it for that, I believe, and he has his...
I was. Yep. If you want my thoughts, go check that out.
Okay, maybe I will do. So with that and Anti-Chris, what is your pick of the week?
I am in love with Yakuza Like a Dragon. That game has, like, I was already excited for what Like a Dragon was going to be. One, I'm a huge Yakuza fan. I love the series. I think that it is like one of Sega's finest games and IPs out of their entire collection. It might be their best one. I know that's arguable for some people. I love everything that Yakuza is. There's some hit and misses. Like, some games are obviously way better than others. But the Yakuza series as a whole, with everything they bring, both serious and bullshit, are just absolutely fantastic. And Like a Dragon carries that over, crossing over into the RPG sphere, like, nigh perfectly. Like, it's so good. I'll get into like the baseline of like the story. You have the main character Ichiban. He is not Kiryu. Kiryu was always like the silent badass who like had a heart of gold, right? Ichiban is genuinely a nice person who just happens to be a Yakuza, but he is terrible at everything that he does. But his one crowning character attribute is his undying loyalty in his boss. Like, he absolutely loves the boss. Then they go into a little bit of his backstory, how the two of them met. Pretty much he was just some punk kid that tried to make it look like that he was Yakuza. And when rival families caught him and beat the shit out of him, they were just like, yo, where's your family so that we can have a chat and a discussion, otherwise we're gonna kill you. And he just throws out there our Arakawa of the Tojo family. Has no idea who this motherfucker is. And they looked around and were like, this guy's not showing up. Well, the head man, the big guy of the family shows up and beats the fuck out of these dudes. And he was just like, you know what? I'll take him. I will take him. And he like lets him off. He lets him live. And like, Ichiban is like flabbergasted. He's just like, oh my God, like, you didn't have to do that. You could have just let me die. And he was just like, yeah, I know. And from that point on, he was constantly trying to prove himself, trying to show his dedication to the head of the Arakawa family, eventually allowing him into the Yakuza family. But he was absolutely terrible at his job. Like, there's one part where in the very beginning that you're trying to get money. You're trying to get like protection money from other people. So that you can pay or bring it back home to the family. There's this guy that's selling like fake animal porn to these kids, and after beating the shit out of him, instead of like bringing it back to his superiors, he gives it back to the kids because that's the right thing to do. Ends up getting the shit kicked out of him for it, but it's in his mind. It's like, no, that's the right thing to do. So everything about Ichiban is like through undying loyalty and the power of friendship. But he's so incompetent that I don't know how he functions as a human being. And it carries over after you start like getting into the story. Some interesting things that really highlight some social issues that Japan faces, namely with their homelessness crisis. They talk about how like, nobody wants to be associated with the homeless because they're looked at as lazy, or they looked at as like a blight on society, and how these homeless people have to try to huddle together and rely on each other to survive, and that the police will just show up and kick all of them out. And then they're back at square one. They're trying to find some source of stability within a culture that wants nothing to do with them. The same thing goes for prostitution in Japan, because a lot of the people who are prostitutes were not from Japan in the first place. They immigrated over here with the help of work, or with the promises of work, ends up into the business, has kids, either leaves the country, dies, just fucks off or somewhere, and these kids don't have proper paperwork because they're not true Japanese citizens. So what's the only way that they can get money is by working in the prostitution field. And they touch on that quite a bit. It's very, very interesting. But then you get into the stupid shit, like the game has hobo Pokemon. There's an entire gag where it's just like you meet the pseudo Professor Oak, and he's just like, I want to track and log all 230 types of Sujimon, which is just essentially all the people that you fight, the Yakuza, the hobos, the business people, anybody that you fight gets logged into this Pokedex of sorts. You can listen to their cries. You can like find what location that they're found in, what their weaknesses are. It's so dumb. It's absolutely the Hobodex. That's what it is. The way that you have your summons is based off of an escort service. So there's one part where your partner is trying to get lucky. He like finds an escort service, and they're just like, "Don't worry, we'll bring our services to you." And he's just like, "Oh shit, let's go, boys." This big black dude shows up, and he's just like, "Hey man, I'm your date for tonight." And he's just like, "Whoa, what the fuck do you mean?" And he's just like, "Nah, I'm here for this." And he's just like, "Let me show you what my services are." And your party member's like, "No, please don't." These two like ruffians come out of nowhere, and like they make eye contact, and they just want to start a fight. And they're just like, "Yeah, just press this button on the escort service app." And then he shows up and just pummels the shit out of these two dudes. And it's like, anytime you need me, you just got to pay a little bit of money, and then we'll show up, and then business will be taken care of. And then from that point on, anytime that you get a summon, it's through that escort app. And it's just, it doesn't give a shit. It doesn't care. It doesn't care how fucking wild some of the scenarios get. Ichiban thinks of the world. The reason why that the game runs like an RPG is that Ichiban, like, I don't know how they got the license to be able to say that. I guess it's some sort of parody thing. But Ichiban says, like, no, I think of the world in doing quests like Dragon Quest. Like, everything, the way that the world operates is as if I'm playing an RPG. So, like, in real time, it may be an actual brawl. But in Ichiban's mind, it runs like an RPG. And so he has all these stupid abilities and shit like that through traditional JRPG turn-based combat. It's by far the best game that I played all year. Like, and I played Final Fantasy VII Remake. I played plenty of other games that came out this year. This is the one that's making the biggest impact on me. It is that good.
Nice.
That's my spiel.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Because I touched on this last week. I have played it. I'm not as far into it as you are. I played it a little bit more this week, but didn't get much time into it. So, yeah, I'm a bit behind. But everything you said, yeah, spot on. I think you've kind of nailed it down on like the way the characters are and stuff. And
I'm trying to avoid like actual character interaction because they're fantastic as well. They're super fucking good. I'm just trying to get in like everything else that goes around the mini games in there. It has Virtua Fighter 5. Like,
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
They have a whole PS3 arcade game in there. Virtual Fighter 5. They got Outrun. They got Virtual Fighter 2 in there. They've got so much packed in there, along with their own mini games, along with their own kart racer. Like, they have their own like kart racer in the game. It's so jammed. Like, you don't even have to play the RPG or play the story. You could just bullshit with all these other different things. And I'm hoping that it's like Yakuza, where they also have like darts and they also have mahjong and chess. Like, they have shogi in the game. I learned how to play shogi one night on stream. It was amazing. It's the fucking best, right? That's why I love these Yakuza games. Graham, the only thing I'm gonna say, I'm gonna close it out with this, but there's a summon that you get that's based off of Yakuzas in diapers. I want to know what your reaction to that is.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
Well, yeah, I know about this from last Scrubverse episode, but I will not say anything.
Yep.
Okay, I will.
Let me know what you think.
I'll keep playing this week and see. I'll let you know. Okay, that's awesome.
I have a question. You said there's fake animal porn. What does that mean? Just issues of National Geographic?
No. So apparently in the storyline, like, they obviously don't show anything, but what ends up happening is that Ichiban gets a call from either his best friend, sworn brother, or his supervisor saying like, hey, there is this guy on our turf selling pornography to these teenagers. However, the pornography turns out to be like bullshit animal porn. I need you to go deal with that and bring the money back here.
Oh, instead of real people porn?
Exactly. Like, they were trying to get the rocks off, and then they got fucking swindled.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, yeah. They just show the guy's got a load of VHS tapes in his backpack.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't see anything else, but other than that,
VHS has got to be porn.
Yep, those were the days.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, Scotty. The game actually starts quite a few years back. Is it? What? I've actually forgotten the year it starts. Is it
2001?
Oh no, it starts in 1999, doesn't it?
I want to say it's like at the turn of the millennium, because it was a big fucking deal.
Yeah, it's 1999. So I remember people were. Or was it 2000?
I think it was no. I think it was 2001, because he goes away for, I believe, 18 years, and the game's setting is in 2019.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, for some reason I thought it was 1999, but yeah, no, I think you're right. So yeah, late 90s, very early 2000s. That's what it said. So VHS is still kind of a thing around that time.
Yeah,
so
I still bought VHS in '99, but
I
don't know about 01. Yeah, that sounds good. Unfortunately, I'll probably never play it because I just can't get into those games. There's too much for me. Right. I get overwhelmed with stuff like that.
They are dense. They are very, very dense. But you could say that you're getting your money's worth when you buy a Yakuza game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know if I could say the same thing about like the first two games, like Yakuza 1 and 2, or the Kiwami games. I haven't played the Kiwami games. I played the original ones for PlayStation 2. Those were a little bit more streamlined, but since then they were just like, throw everything in there. Everything.
I think, Scotty, because I'm also the same as you. I steer away from a lot of RPGs these days, especially Japanese ones, which have a lot of stuff in them, because I just don't have time for them. But with Yakuza, the way I've been playing, I touched on like the arcades basically, but I didn't really go into many of the mini games for the bits I've played. But for the storyline, you can actually try and just stick to the storyline. And it's so cinematic. It's so well done. That it really engages you. You want to keep playing. So I feel like it is. I feel like some people, even if you don't have a huge amount of time, you can just play the storyline. Don't get sidetracked. It's not like Grand Theft Auto, was it 4 or whatever, where you kept getting phone calls from your uncle to like go play bowling or something. You know, that bullshit, which was just really fucking annoying. But as I say, I'm not as far into it as Chris is. I will say one thing. Last week I sort of mentioned how I'm not a big fan of turn-based RPGs in general, and I was a bit hesitant about this one. It's grown on me. The turn-based combat has actually grown on me. It does get better, and you unlock more abilities, and you get other party members and stuff. So it just makes it, and it's a bit more dynamic. It's more dynamic. The actual what's happening on screen. Like, for example, you could be against like three enemies, and you can like sort of select your attack, and then you sort of select the enemy you want to fight. But if you choose one who's at the back and there's like another enemy near you, as you run to fight that enemy, the enemy near you will like kick you or push you or punch you.
Yeah.
So they effectively stop you from making your attack, like almost like in a real fight. Like if you were standing near Chris and I went to hit you or something, Scotty, Chris would be like, get away from my mate and sort of, get me instead. So I felt that was really cool. So you have to sort of plan, be more strategic who you're fighting against. Like,
yeah,
there could be a guy who's about to die and he's protected by two other people.
That's how grid-based, what the hell is the term? Tactics-based RPGs, that's how they've always worked, but a lot of times they don't show you that happening. They just say, Chris hit Scott because he was close before Graham hit Chris.
Yeah, like an attack of opportunity or some shit like that.
Yeah. Right. So it sounds like it just does a better job of presenting that. It sounds like you've fallen in love with the presentation more than anything.
Yeah, that could be it. I mean, it's just more fun to watch, I think, in that sense. Like and it may actually, I think because of that, it makes me think as well, where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to hit that guy, even though if I can kill that guy in one hit, but this guy's way closer and probably going to get me instead. So yeah, I don't know. It's a small thing, but I thought it was really cool.
I would also say, like, you feel the hits, like you feel the weight of the punches and kicks and everything when they happen. Like when Adachi hits somebody with his nightstick, like you feel the weight coming down on him. Like, oh God, that man is dead. He needs some milk. He needs some help now. It's super good. It's super good.
It's cool.
That's it. I'm off my soapbox.
Okay. Scotty, have you got any questions at all?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, perfect. With that, we'll move along from the craziness to my pick of the week, which is a movie from last year, 2019, called Dark Waters. Have either of you heard of this movie at all?
No.
Yeah, I do want to see it because I know it's Mark Ruffalo being Mark Ruffalo.
Sure. He's
a big activist on environmental stuff and political things in real life. So
yeah, for those who don't know, the story, it's based on a true story. I vaguely remember this being in the news, but I didn't realize the impact of the whole thing around this. So some of you might know of it. It stars Mark Ruffalo, Anne Hathaway, Tim Robbins, and Bill Pullman. They're kind of the main big actors. There's a few other actors in there I recognize, but don't know their names. Essentially, Mark Ruffalo is an attorney who uncovers a connection between a growing number of unexplained deaths in cattle and people to this chemical manufacturing corporation called DuPont. After a town has become contaminated due to unregulated chemicals being deposited within an area of the town. So it starts off with unexplained animal deaths. It's set in part of it's set in Parkersburg, West Virginia. And the cows are starting to get weird tumors and turning violent and dying, basically. And at one point, he's talking to this farmer, and the farmer sort of says, like, I'm going to show you my field where my cows are. And it's basically just like mounds of buried cows everywhere, like almost like little graves of cows. He's like, Jesus, how many did you lose? He goes, 190. So this farmer lost 190 cows in within a few months, basically, effectively. And basically the people in town started to get sick. And as I was watching it, I was thinking, I'm sure I've heard of DuPont. And then they started talking more about it. They're going more about it. And they started talking about Teflon. So that's the stuff that a lot of non-stick frying pans use. And essentially the chemicals used in Teflon are actually super dangerous. And this is a case in real life that went on for over 20 years. And that sort of period of time is kind of covered in the movie. Like he'll be investigating certain aspects, and then he'll come across a roadblock, and then he'll sort of move on like 5 years, and then he'll like crack a bit in the case and stuff. And it's just mind blowing stuff, really. I found, in my opinion. Don't want to go too much into it. You can look up on Wikipedia and stuff if you need to, but the movie's well worth watching. It's very fascinating, and it's just kind of scary. Like, it's DuPont, if you don't know, is one of the biggest chemical manufacturing companies in the world, basically. And it's like the power that they have to basically cover all this stuff up and to fight against, just small town people who are like literally dying because they're getting poisoned. They have no control over this stuff. It's getting into the water system and everything like that. It's getting into, because it's getting into the water system. Cows were also drinking that water. It was then getting into the people's meat and stuff like that. And there's a chemical, or like there's a component that's used in a lot of packaging called PFOA. And that has now, this is a scary fact that came out in the movie, as I think it's like of last year. That chemical PFOA is now being detected in the blood of more than 98% of the population of America. So effectively, it's in everybody, and it's been seen that this contamination has spread across to every continent in the world. It's actually almost scary, effectively, about the stuff they're talking about. So, I mean, I'm not saying everyone's going to get sick in America, just saying that there's a small percentage of this chemical that's now, because it's used in so many products and in non-stick frying pans, it technically is kind of in everybody now. It's really scary, but it's a brilliant movie, well worth watching. It's like David versus Goliath, sort of typical movie. And I love the way they portrayed the characters and stuff. Like Mark Ruffalo, he's quite high up in his company, but he's not like the main boss. And quite often in these movies and stuff, they'll portray the main boss just to be a dick who's always after money. This guy is dubious at the start, but when Mark Ruffalo starts to investigate more and more and comes up with evidence, the boss is actually genuinely like, we need to do something about this. This is fucking ridiculous. Because all the other partners in the company are like, this seems a bit, we're going against one of the biggest companies in the world. We probably shouldn't do this. And he's just like, did anybody actually read this evidence? We need to do something. And I thought it was just really cool. And yeah, well worth a watch. Really fun. Yeah. Have you guys got any questions about it at all?
No, I need to. Where did you watch it?
So this was I think it's on Amazon Prime in the UK. I don't know if it's available in America on Amazon Prime. But that's where I watched it, is on Amazon Prime, so hopefully a streaming service over there has it.
I'll have to look it up. I do want to see it. I have wanted to for a while. I don't know what this says about anything, but all the Marvel movies have taught me, like, what I get out of them now is I need to look up other stuff that these cast members have done, because I don't want to associate all of these people with, like, only the Marvel movies, because they've done such better dramatic roles and other things that I need to really because I knew in my like psyche I knew about Mark Ruffalo and all these other characters and all these other actors before the Marvel films, but I don't think I bothered to look too far into them. But yeah, I do want to see it. DuPont Parkersburg is a little over 2 hours away from me, and then to just give you an idea of how ridiculous the size of this country is compared to yours, Graham. Taylor Swift's Christmas Tree Farm is over 4 hours away from me and in the same state as me.
Oh, yeah, that's like a whole other country for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But this sounds cool. I'd like to see it.
Cool. Yeah, well worth it. Chris, any...
one last comment I'll say. That, that's why everybody gets their own chickens, I guess.
Yes, yeah, that's why Chris has got his own chickens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not a movie guy, so this is lost on me. I
Fair
apologize.
enough.
It's interesting. I'll look it up. Like I'll look up the entire fiasco, or I was just reading about the actual chemical itself.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Fair enough. That's cool. Yeah, it's just something to think of. I mean, I've got Teflon products in my house. I was like, oh Jesus! Like,
we do. I think about
just
that.
To be clear, I think just using Teflon is fine in the frying pans. But if they ever the black stuff starts to come off them, that's the time to actually get rid of it, because they were sort of saying that is when you're showing that it's actually kind of dangerous to use. But it's made me really think about stuff I'm using now. Like as soon as we watch this movie, basically we've got an old dish tray thing that's non-stick, and it's starting to peel a little bit, and Kate just literally threw it out. She's like, yeah, I'm not cooking with this thing, basically. Like, yeah, kind of. I don't want to scare people with this movie.
Supersize me. You're having that effect.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I was just genuinely like, oh, yeah, this is actually quite serious, this stuff that's happening. So I know it's a small chance that it could affect you, but I
know we mainly use like stainless steel and stuff like that. So
we definitely have Teflon stuff.
Yeah, I guess
we recycle though.
Yeah, so do we. I guess that helps. Every little bit helps. But I guess, we don't have as much stainless steel now because I guess non-stick's just easier to cook with. It's like, yeah, I'm lazy. I don't probably want to clean this. Yeah, but there we go. So yeah, one to check out, people. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I found it fascinating for one thing. That's one of the main things I found it fascinating. Hopefully other people will. You also just find out some bits and pieces. But yeah, so there we go. So with that, we will move on to one of our main feature discussions. Okay, so now we're moving on to our first feature discussion, which we're calling Saturn Memories. As we said at the start of the show, it is November the 22nd, 2020, which means it's been 26 years to the day that the SEGA Saturn launched in Japan. Wow, how time flies. So we're going to take some time to look at some of our favourite Saturn memories from over the years. So starting with, it's an obvious one to really go for, we're going to start with our favourite games. We have a quick chat about our favourite games. Scotty, would you like to tell us about your favourite Saturn game?
Saturn goddamn Bomberman. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Saturn Bomberman. I was a Bomberman fan before this, with Mega Bomberman on the Genesis, and I think I'd played Game Boy, like handheld versions. I never played any of the Super Bomberman games of Super Nintendo. But this one is insane. It has a 2-player co-op, which is really cool. But the big thing on the back, if you can see here, audio listeners, 1 to 10 players, uses the 6-player adapter. Which shit, I didn't grab that, but it's a square with 6 ports on it, controller ports on it. And so this game, Bomberman, in case anyone's doesn't know the gist of it, it's a top-down view. You are a terrorist. No, it's a top-down view, but you're a little cute guy that runs around in what looks like could be scuba gear or something, weird little helmet, and you just plant bombs. So it could really be a 2-button game, or just a 1-button game, honestly. But you plant the bomb, run away. It's on a grid-based thing, so your explosions go up, down, left, right. But yeah, this game has up to 10-player multiplayer. It makes the screen like zooms out. It looks bad when you have up to 10 playing it, but it's still fun. It's more of a smaller, manageable size when you have 8 players altogether. But you can do like just yourself against 7 AIs. You know, you could split up teams, have 2 versus 2 versus 2 versus 2, or 3v3, or 5-on-5, and whatever. But it's such a simple game, but it has a long enough campaign that it's fun. You can play it on your own. A lot of Bomberman games today don't even bother with like single player stuff. I say that, but they're not really released that often anymore, because it used to be by Hudson Soft, now owned by Konami. But yeah, it's just a really good default party game. And this one was not put on anything else. And unfortunately, it's one of the more expensive, what's not on the Saturn library. But it also had online play. I did actually play this online once, but it was unplayable.
What? Online?
You can, yeah. You can see up near the logo, it says Netlink playable, I think. Yeah.
I don't know if the UK version had that. I've got one here.
Oh, of Saturn Bomberman? I'm not sure. But yeah, no, it's just, it's my favorite game because I can introduce it to anyone. It's very pick up and play. And I just really like what they did with it, adding certain weapons and abilities with your little buddy dinos that you ride around on. The campaign's funny and goofy. It was the first Bomberman to have an animated intro video, like an actual anime, that was really neat. So yeah, it's something I can play with everybody. It's the reason I own 2 of those multi-taps. And when Toys R Us was getting rid of their Saturn stuff, like controllers were like $5 each, so you can bet your boots I swooped in and grabbed a bunch of controllers for Bomberman.
Oh yeah, it's so I'm not a massive Bomberman fan. I enjoy them to an extent, but Saturn Bomberman is a game I genuinely loved back in the day. I thought the campaign mode was brilliant. The other thing I liked about it was with the deathmatch. If I'm not the best at Bomberman, but if you die during it, you then become like a little character who's like on this almost little cart thing around the side. You can fire bombs into the arena.
Right, you have like a cannon.
Yeah, like a little cannon thing basically that goes around the whole of the outside of the the arena, and you can like just fire bombs. And I just thought that was so much fun because then you're still part of the game. You can like screw up other people. You can try and help out a friend if you want to, or you accidentally kill them by mistake by trapping them in between two bombs or something.
I forgot about that. Yeah, and when the timer goes down to like the last minute, those all disappear. People that are dead but on the edge, they disappear. But then weights start to fall onto the level, and they gradually cover the outside so that you have a small enough area, or you can change it so that it eventually covers the entire screen. So it's a sudden death mode. And there is, and actually, I don't know if any other Johnny Bomberman games have had this, but there's a separate adventure mode outside of the campaign mode, which is it's basically a survival mode where he's in like his orange gi, kind of looks like Goku, but he's just going through from floor to floor, and you get through this survival type mode that's only single player.
That was really cool. But the campaign sort of story mode, am I right in thinking that was 2-player?
Yep. You can play it single player, but it does have co-op.
Yeah, 'cause I remember playing that with a friend. We really got into that. Like, we were seriously enjoying that. So we played that for ages. I don't think we ever finished it, though. We might have done once, but we played through that for hours. And then we just go to the deathmatch mode, build some AI bots, and have a lot of fun, basically. It's so good.
Yeah, I would no joke, like in my middle school days when I had no friends, I would play this every morning before going to school. Like I would set up a series of 2 matches per level and just play through an hour before I had to go get the bus.
Nice. The only one thing I wish they had in it was like maybe a couple more of the 10 player arenas.
Yeah, there's only one.
Because there's only one. Because from memory, all the arenas are actually based on like they've got their own like theme, haven't they? From memory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a factory that you can kick bombs, you have remote bombs, you can toss them. You have the dinosaurs that have different abilities like running fast or kicking a bomb or whatever, detonating them through the soft blocks that you can explode. But there are different levels where like the factory has arrows on the floor. So if you kick an arrow up at it and it's pointing left or right, it'll just follow, it'll go in the direction. So you can really mess someone's day up. There's other levels where there's like trampolines you can jump on. There's a soccer field where if you kick a bomb into the goal, it explodes across the entire length of the map.
I didn't realize that.
Really, yeah, I don't recall really many other Bomberman games doing stuff based on the arena until you kind of got to Bomberman 64 with some of the deathmatch related stuff that they, like if you were in a water level, the water rose on sudden death and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Saturn Bomberman's so much fun. I actually have a couple medals winning tournaments in it as well.
Oh, nice.
If you guys can see those medals hanging up on the bookshelf up there.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
In PAX East, I won a tournament and then ended up going to PAX Prime over in the West. Not because of it. We already had plans, me and my buddy Anthony, to go to PAX Prime over in Seattle, but that was where the second, like another round of the tournament was going on. So I did not get first, but I got third, and it was still cool.
Oh, that's still
like Saturn Bomberman.
Yeah, I just think it's one of those games that is just genuinely they took an old idea and just made it better for the generation. It was just and I haven't really played the new ones that much, but from memory they weren't as much fun. I just think that's for me that's the pinnacle of Bomberman so far.
For me too, because the new ones, there's so many different items in it that it's not even a rock, paper, scissors thing anymore with getting the different items. It's just like if you get this certain thing, you're basically invincible. Right. I thought there were too many variables as they progressed, I thought.
Totally.
So
sorry. Chris, did you have any comments or questions or anything about that?
I mean, like, I like Bomberman. We played it during the 2018, 2019 Dreamcast marathon as like
we did the Dreamcast one.
The cooldown for it. I'm not very good. My favorite Bomberman is Bomberman Tournament for the GBA, so I am very not multiplayer centric.
That's the one that has like Pokemon type aspects.
Yeah, it's dumb. I love it.
You would.
Have you played Saturn Bomberman at all?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I got introduced to Saturn Bomberman through Scotty.
Right. Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought you were saying you played the Dreamcast version and then the GBA version. I didn't realize. Okay.
No. So I mean, like the Bomberman games. My first Bomberman game was actually Bomberman Hero. So I'm used to solo single player Bomberman style games. Then I went to like Bomberman 64, Bomberman the Second Attack, Bomberman Tournament. I didn't know, like I knew that Bomberman was like a competitive multiplayer game, but I didn't really experience that until we played over Scotty's house. So
okay.
Okay.
Cool. Brilliant.
Yep.
Nice. So for my one, this should be no surprise to any long-term fans of the old Sega Nerds website or Megavisions. Mine is, and I don't have the full box with me here because it's actually at my parents' house, but I've got the first disc in front of me, which is Panzer Dragoon Saga. Woo! To date, this is my favorite, not only my favorite RPG or my favorite Saturn game, it's my favorite game of all time. I absolutely love it. I did a retrospective of it was it issue 8 of Megavisions magazine?
Yes.
I can't remember. Yeah,
sure.
I've still got
what?
6 issues of that sitting on my desk right now.
Excellent. Hopefully, you've read each one of them. So
yes,
6 times.
I broke them all in.
Brilliant. But yeah, for those who don't know, Panzer Dragoon Saga, it's based on the Panzer Dragoon series, which Panzer Dragoon and Panzer Dragoon zwei are part of. And there's one on the Game Gear as well. I can't remember what that was called now. Panzer Dragoon Mini. I think that was called. But those games are they're like on rails shooting games basically. So you're on the back of a dragon on rails. The dragon guides you around like a 3D environment. So you're firing, but you can fire in all directions. You can look behind yourself on the dragon, to the sides, to the front. So imagine Star Fox games, but being able to look all around you as you're doing it. But then Panzer Dragoon Saga was a full-blown RPG. So you're not only on rails, you can go on the back of your dragon, so you can fly around 3D environments, exploring things. Like you can sort of, you can basically it's almost like
open
you're flying
world.
Yeah, well, I'd say is it open world? Well, you're in a 3D open environment. So, but yeah. Anyway, but yeah, like in RPGs, you can sort of click on items and stuff to get more information about them. You can also go on foot or walk around, talk to people and stuff. But the main combat in the game is all done on the back of a dragon, and it's not exactly turn-based as such, but it's almost time-based. So the way it works is like over the course of time, you build up energy, and depending on how much energy you have, you can use different types of attacks. But if you wait too long to perform an attack, your enemy might get in there before you, so you have a chance of getting hit or really badly hurt. But it's not just that. You can move, for most enemies, you can move all around the enemies, like in the environment. So you can choose your point of attack. And some enemies have weak spots. Some enemies have areas where they won't attack you at all, so you can just rest there. And then some enemies will have like really dangerous points and stuff. And I'm not explaining it the best, to be honest. If you read our retrospective, it's really good. That explained it a bit better. But I just found that the combat is so unique, and it was so much fun. Like I genuinely enjoyed the combat throughout the game. So many RPGs, especially Japanese RPGs, I get tired of combat throughout them. But this one I loved throughout, from start to finish. I think the storyline is really good, because at the start it just feels like a standard quest of betrayal, like revenge almost. You at the very start of the game, the world is controlled by this empire effectively, and it's almost like almost a semi-post-apocalyptic world. That this old technology from the ancients is sort of still being used, but no one really knows about the ancients. But there's monsters out there and stuff, and people are sort of struggling to survive. But you're controlled by this empire, and this person called Kramen forms this rebel sort of alliance off from the empire, and they essentially come to this burial site that's like mine that you're working in. They kill your boss. They basically kill everybody there, because in the mine is this woman basically trapped in the mine, like in stone. She's like something from the ancient times, effectively. And you are killed as well. Like, well, you're shot and you fall off like this thing, and you basically land at the bottom of this like pool of water in this like cavern, and this dragon finds you, and basically you connect with the dragon, and you're alive. So you're like, I'm going to go and like seek revenge for the people who died, like my boss, who was like basically like a friend to me, like a dad to me. And also you've seen this woman and you're very interested. You want to see what the mystery is around her. But So yeah, the story sounds like just like a standard revenge story, but there's so much more to it. As you progress, there's loads of twists and turns in it, and I just found it, at the time, I found it very cinematic. I mean, these days you're probably going to look at it and go, that's the visuals of this are terrible, but I loved it, and I still will. I occasionally play it still today, and I think it's just such a great game. I can't speak enough about how unique this game is to me, and it's also the only game that actually I shed a tear to. Like, I got to the end of the game and genuinely was like, there's something that happens at the end of the game. It was just genuinely like, wow, that was an emotional roller coaster for me. So yeah, there you go. I don't know what else to say.
You forgot to mention how the dragon changes form in real time if you change your abilities.
Sure, yeah. There's a whole dragon morphing system as well within the game.
Interesting to me because I, as not a very avid RPG player, the presentation of it again is very much what captivated me and how you can change. I'll let you explain how that works, but I thought that was cool.
Oh, I think you're doing a better job than I am, to be honest. I was stumbling over my words.
Oh, well, you can. I think there's 4 types, like agility, basically speed, strength, magic, and defense or something.
Yeah, defense. Yeah.
And it's literally a slider in a circle where you move the slider around and you watch the dragon change form in that menu, and then you go back to the battle, and that's what your dragon looks like now, and it changes its features. It's really cool to me.
But it's not just that as well. So yeah, that is one thing that's really cool. You can actually do that in real time effectively and be in the battle with your defenses higher and maybe your attacks a bit lower or something like that. But the more you play in certain styles, certain types of more defense or more attack, you unlock new abilities, and effectively your dragon will level up in different ways. So by the end of the game, I could play the game and Scotty could play the game. We could have almost completely different dragons by the end of the game. We could have different abilities and stuff. So it's really cool. You don't get different endings to the game, but the way you progress is just that little bit different. It made it very entertaining and just very fun, like just trying to find if you can unlock all the types of variations of dragons. I
guess sort of to cut you off, but at the same time to add to it, the first time I played it and finished it, like finished the game, watch credits roll, I go to the progress screen essentially, where it shows what items you've collected and everything like that, your progress in the game. I had finished the game, but it said like progress complete 66%. I was like, whoa, this is bigger than I thought, and I don't really understand RPGs, but I guess I gotta collect more stuff. But it's a combination of things in the game, so just to give you people an idea of how big it really is.
Yeah, there's tons of little secrets to find and little nuggets and stuff. And the other thing, I think at the time it was incredible to me because while it wasn't a proper open world, it did actually have very large 3D areas that you got to explore. I mean, this is limited by the Saturn's capabilities at the time, but you could fly like in full, like up and down, left and right, and just go around these environments, and it's just really cool. Especially the areas that had the water, or like the desert areas that had like sand and stuff, and like you see these sort of like sandworms and stuff jumping out of the ground and things like that. That was just really cool to watch at the time. I could talk about this game all day, to be honest. So I will shut up. There we go.
I have this game. I haven't played it yet. Like, I played very, very
you watched
little.
Me play a decent chunk, I think.
I did see you play it. I do want to play it. I just need to get my Saturn, hook it up to the rig, and I'm kind of just really waiting for the Polymega to fulfill that role because,
run
better.
Run better. I can download the games onto its hard drive. So, like, I'm looking towards that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well because the reason why my box is actually kept at my parents' house is because it's got the paper sort of cardboard slip, and then you got the actual 2 DVD style boxes inside. But when I first used it, I used to take the game out and stuff, so my box started to wear out a little bit, and I was like, so now I've got it in like CD, either CD case or I have it in like these dual cases that I keep it in. So. Yeah, so when the Polymega comes around, if I ever get one, hopefully I will, I'll actually copy my games to the hard drive and then put these back in the box, hopefully forever, so they'll stay like nice and neat and tidy.
Plan.
Yeah. Yeah, so there we go. But yeah, Chris, I recommend highly if you own it, you lucky son of a bitch, because I know not everyone could get their hands on it. I'm so thankful that I managed to get it.
Yeah,
back in the day.
we're what a couple of pieces of shit we are. Like, it's one of the rarest games on the system, and all three of us own it.
Oh dear,
Is it the rarest game on there?
it's one of the rarest.
Maybe one of the more sought after.
I'd
be interested because you're such a big RPG guy, Chris. I'd be interested to hear your opinions on it, because a lot of things I'm sure it copies, but a lot of things it does different, and some things I wonder why other games don't do it just from a presentation standpoint.
Yeah, so. And for anyone who's not hugely into RPGs, like for example, some of the Final Fantasy games go on for like 1,000 hours or something ridiculous. This game is, I think, at the most it's like 20 odd hours or so. If you sort of play it from, I think you can get done like 16 hours if you just go through the story. So
yeah,
I feel like
it's not super long.
Yeah, it's not super long, and I felt like I didn't waste much. I think my first run through, I was just trying to look for everything, and I did spend about 70 hours on it, but I was just like going back to areas and stuff for no reason almost. I just like, I'm going to go explore this area again and things like that. But
I will say to its success that it's something also with me in RPGs. I equate them to how I read books. Unless I'm captivated by in the first novel, I cannot sit down with a good book. This game, in the first area, you will know whether or not it is for you because it walks you through the battle system. And if I remember correctly, the next area has some walking around bits, but like the main draw is, of course, the battle system, and like it introduces it well enough. And by the time you're at the first boss, I don't remember if you use berserk attacks or not, but you have an idea of whether or not you'll be able to handle this battle system and understand it to the point of enjoying it within the first world, I would say. So it progresses quicker in that manner than most RPGs.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that was the other thing I liked about it. I was hooked almost instantly when I first played it. And I don't know if I've ever said this on the show before. I almost didn't own this game because I bought it and my original version did not work. So I bought it and basically play the cutscene, the opening footage, and then it gets to the point where it sort of says for you to enter your name, and you'd enter my name, and I press the button, and the screen would like fade out white like it should do, and it just stayed white. It's like just left with like a whoosh, sort of whooshing sound, just frozen. And I was like, oh, and I kept trying it and stuff, and my friend was at my house, like watching me going, this game doesn't seem to be working. I was like, oh, okay. And then I took it back to the game store. They didn't have any more copies in stock, but they had Sonic R on the shelf. Back to Sonic R. Here we go.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, I'll just get Sonic R instead. That seems like a fun game.
What an upgrade.
Got Sonic R. Really enjoyed Sonic R. Thought it was great. And then a few months later, I think when the Saturn was basically stopped and they were sort of starting to get rid of games, they hadn't reduced the price of this game. I think it's still £40, but it's like essentially they had it in stock again. It's like, oh yeah, I almost bought this game because I didn't know anything about it. That was a weird thing. I hadn't even read anything about it. I just saw the back of the box and thought that looks interesting, and I picked it up, and it ended up being the best game I've ever played. So I'm so thankful that I sort of bit the bullets and got it. Yeah, like oh my god, yeah, like thank you. Wow, man,
Shit's crazy, son.
It is. But there we go. So that is. Oh no, sorry, Anti-Chris. What is your favorite game? I think we haven't even mentioned yours. Sorry.
So I've got a few gems on the Saturn that I really, really enjoy. And I mean, like obviously a lot of them are fighting games. I'm going to try to contain that a bit because the game that is my favorite is a fighting game on the Saturn.
Cool.
Like I love Princess Crown. Princess Crown is a Vanillaware game, or was the progenitor to all the Vanillaware games. We got like Dragon's Crown, and we got Mirror Mouse of the Demon Blade, Odin Sphere. Games in that vein, and now 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, which is fantastic. Also Shining Force 3. I'm a big Shining Force fan.
Oh yeah.
I love what's Dragon Force. I love Shining Wisdom. Those games are just very, very good. And usually anything that is published or localized by Working Designs usually proves to be worth your time. But as far as fighting games are concerned, like the Saturn is a fighting game machine. Like in some cases, especially with the case of Street Fighter 03, it's the best version that you can get, even compared to the Dreamcast. And so my favorite game is on the Saturn is Street Fighter 03. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy of that. I'm in the middle of getting one. I have 02 in my collection right now. Just between the characters, the way that the game looks, it's the closest thing to Third Strike without it being Third Strike. And Third Strike is my favorite Street Fighter. 03 is my second favorite. There's a lot of similarities that they have, but between like just the way that the game looks and the music that's in there, the isms in the way that the combat system works, whether you can do like Street Fighter Turbo 2 style of gameplay, you can do V-ism, which is kind of like a variant between the two, and then you have X-ism, which is more of a high risk, high rewards type of gameplay where you can't do air combos and you can't do certain supers, but it's all like a hyper aggressive gameplay. There's a lot of choice and a lot of customization that you have with Street Fighter 03. Unfortunately, 03 in the States it's called Alpha 3. But 03, now you guys probably know what it is. 03 was not released in the United States. It was a Japan exclusive for the Saturn. We got it on PlayStation. I think we might have also gotten it on Dreamcast.
Yeah, it's on Dreamcast as well.
But with the Saturn, with the game taking advantage of the 4 megabyte RAM cart, it just runs 100 times better. It runs, it looks, it sounds 100 times better. So if you get the chance, especially if you have the cart that goes along with it, get Street Fighter 03. It's gonna run you $100 and something, but it's still worth it, in my opinion.
So just to clarify, Street Fighter Alpha 3 is the same as Street Fighter 03?
So the Alpha series in the US is the 0 series in Japan.
Right, okay.
Us dumb Americans couldn't figure out what 03 meant.
Okay. Okay, for some reason I thought this was released in the UK on the Saturn, but yeah, I'm just looking it up and it wasn't either. That's really annoying.
Got to get that action replay, that 4 meg, that's essentially the expansion pack for the Saturn to play certain games and import games. So
I have that.
I gotta get one of those that has a mod chip in there because I want to play scenario 2 and 3 of Shining Force, and those are Japan only as well. So I don't know enough weeb to understand what's being said to me.
Have you ever used? I shouldn't be saying this really, I guess, but let's talk about it. Have you ever used like SSF or any Saturn emulators at all?
No.
Okay, because there is a mod for SFF that you could basically play those games, but with the English translation. Because I own all the Shining Force 3 scenarios. I didn't finish 2 and 3, but I started playing them, but with the English text on, which is really handy. But
talk to me offline about that.
Okay. This was years ago. I probably can't even remember, but it's a thing, and I've definitely done it. So
I know it's a thing. I've seen it, so I'm very interested in playing those.
Okay, nice, cool. Brilliant. So
we're all over the board with our choices there.
Oh yeah, that's quite interesting. We're not all Panzer Dragoon Saga, which is disappointing, but also fascinating. Great to see. So the next sort of Saturn memory we're going to talk about is some of either the weird or unique Saturn games that we've come across. So these don't necessarily have to be completely crazy, but they're just games that we've only found on the Saturn. So Anti-Chris, would you like to kick this one off?
Yeah, so going back to the fighting game craze and how there's so many different fighting games that we completely missed out on the Saturn here on the States. One of the more interesting ones that I know of is called Rabbit. Rabbit is a traditional 2D fighter. It was published by a company I'm actually not super familiar with. I think it was like Archon or some shit like that. But it's essentially like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure before JoJo was a thing. So you can play as 9 playable characters, but each character has a spirit beast. So the main character is like this young androgynous character. I don't know if it's like male or female because the game's in Japanese. I can't read anything, but their spirit beast is a rabbit. And then there's other characters that has like a wolf, a pig, a hawk, shit like that. And they'll fight normally, like just regular ground fighting. And then when they want to get like pop off their special or use certain abilities. Then they summon their hawk or their spirit beast animal to help them do certain moves and shit like that. And what's cool is that when you play arcade mode and you beat the enemy, you take their spirit beast. Ooh. And so you'll have like a single use special that you can use of that spirit beast. It's a fascinating game. It's also gorgeous. In fact, let me see if I can send you.
I'm looking at it. It looks very colorful. It's Bloody Roar meets Darkstalkers.
Kinda. It's a fast-paced game. It's interesting. In fact, one of the characters almost looks like Felicia.
Yeah.
So that's what I recommend. Again, it's a rarity since it never came out in the United States. Now people want it all of a sudden. Definitely go check it out. It's pretty dope.
Typing Rabbit Sega Saturn got me more results than the real name for what it's worth. Just Googling.
Yeah. I think it's only known as Rabbit, isn't it? Normally.
Well, most people know it as Rabbit. The full name is like Lumendo Rabbit. But I mean, like, no one's really going to know that unless like you're reading Japanese.
Right. Okay. Nice. So, Scotty, what is your weird or unique Saturn game choice?
Mr. Bones. Mr. Bones is the cover of it has a skeleton with blue eyes playing a guitar, everybody. This game is 2 discs long because there's some music-based stuff. It has a very good soundtrack, but it changes gameplay style every freaking level. And I suck at it. I don't enjoy this game, but it is damn ambitious. Because there's, the first level you think like, oh, it's a platformer, cool, whatever. Then the next level or another level, you start with no arms or legs, and you have to find the rest of your body parts by going through these different landings as you progress going upward. You don't even know that, and stuff's flying at you. Then another level, you have to do a guitar solo, and then a couple levels later, you have to do this drum solo. And meanwhile, there's different gameplay. They don't explain the controls for. Maybe they do, and I just miss it. But it is so insane. I assume the role of Mr. Bones, a dead blues musician resurrected from his grave who finds himself part of Degolian's evil army of darkness. Battle this army of darkness before it succeeds in spreading evil throughout the world, like a rock star would do.
That's crazy.
Mr. Bones.
Yeah, I've heard of Mr. Bones, but I've never played it before. But yeah, it sounds insane. I love the idea of it.
Yeah.
It sounds great.
Streamed it one year. Rachel fell in love with it. The chat was trying to tell me what to do. I'm just like, this game sucks. It doesn't suck, but it does a bad job of telling you what to do. So I definitely recommend it. One of the more unique things out there. And It is a Sega, or who is this? I can't read the... Maybe I'll look into it. My case is totally broken. That's the best thing about Sega cases, right?
They break so fucking easily.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, this makes sense. Producers Ed Annunziata.
Oh,
the guy behind Echo and Calibri, games that are notoriously hard.
Especially Calibri, just literally no information on how to play that game. I played that and I was just like flying around going, I literally have no idea what I'm meant to be doing right now. But yeah, great looking game though. Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the other. Oh, it might be Sega Soft. Yeah, but it's a first party Sega game.
Also, I'll try and keep an eye out
Mr.
so I
Bones.
can get my hands on it. That's if it was released in the UK. Often you guys talk about games that were never actually released over here.
I could. There's no way to find out.
There is no way. I've just typed in Mr. Bones into Wikipedia and it said Mr. Bones is the 2001 slapstick comedy film that's made and set in South Africa. That's not what we're talking about, clearly.
Oh yeah, that's not the. Whoa, the Japanese artwork for this is totally different. It looks like a Grateful Dead album cover. But let me see if it was released in the UK, sir. It was same day as Australia.
Ooh, cool, nice.
Wait, but it didn't get a Japanese release? I'm even more confused now.
Oh, maybe it was cool. Was it called something else in Japan?
I'm not sure. Mr. Bones. Oh, you have very different box art, though. Anyway.
Sorry. Nice. Good stuff. What's going on? Is it my turn? Yeah, probably. Yes.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm completely lost. I was just fascinated looking at Mr. Bones. Sidetrack. So yeah, my pick is, I guess, not nearly as weird as your one, but it's probably one a lot of people do know about. It is Bug for the Saturn. So if you don't know about Bug, it is a platform game, and it's I'm gonna do this in air quotations, a 3D platform game. I personally, I think a lot of people don't like this game, but I personally think it's actually very underrated. I'm not saying it's the best platform game ever or anything. I think it's a very solid platformer, but it's just very unique as well. So I do air quotations for 3D because it's not like Mario 64 or Spyro the Dragon. Or
2.5D.
It's I don't think it's technically not 2.5D either, though. That's the thing, because 2.5D often has, like, you're walking along like one plane and then stuff will be coming out, like there'll be 3D objects or what have you. This is 3D in that you do go backwards into the distance. You can come forward and stuff. There are 3D elements to it. So you're walking along effectively pathways on the levels, and there are multiple routes from some of the paths, but you can walk away from the camera. So you can walk into the background.
Yeah.
Walking along in the background. You can walk forward towards the camera. So it is effectively a 3D game. There are 3D polygons in it.
Reminds me a little bit of a Klonoa.
For sure.
Yeah.
The panda looking thing with weird ears.
Yes, I know what the box art. I can picture the box art, but I've never played it, so I'm not sure. But
good game.
Yeah, but there is an X, Y, and Z axis in this game. If that helps anybody understand it.
Yeah. And then you have sloping paths as well and stuff. And you actually do have platforming elements where you have to jump across, like, bottomless pits and things like that. And there are moving. Sometimes you'll jump on a platform which then moves into the background to go on another path. And there are some of the levels, especially in Bug 2, you actually have multiple path routes and stuff. But yeah, I just found it fascinating. And like the basis behind it is very strange as well. Effectively, for the audience listeners, you're playing as a character who is a bug, like a little green bug-looking dude, and
attitude.
A bug with attitude, like the new Sonic the Hedgehog. But essentially, you're actually like in a movie studio, and each level is meant to be like its own little mini movie, almost
like Gex, almost.
Yeah, I guess so. I've only played Gex once. I can't even remember it, to be honest.
Gex was more with like TV themes and TV shows, but Enter the Gecko is very much parodying movies.
Right.
So that's how they got away with different worlds. So Bug kind of takes that as well.
Yeah. This was before Gex Enter the Gecko, wasn't it?
Well, Bug was a launch game on the Saturn. I'm not sure when Gex came out.
I think Gex was a little bit after, because the first Gex was on the Saturn as well, and then Gex Enter the Gecko was PlayStation only, I think, at the time.
Right. And N64. Okay, so the first Gex was November 16th, 94. So Bug was out a little bit before that.
Yeah. But yeah, I found the levels are quite different. I like the way that, like, you can, like, when you jump on enemies, you can jump into the background and jump on them. So yeah, it just feels a lot.
I'm sorry. I want to correct myself. I completely misquoted. May of 95 was when Bug was out. So Gex was technically before Bug.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, fair enough. There we go. I thought Bug was a launch title as well, but never mind.
Well, I mean, that was when it came out. Maybe it was a launch title in the US, because May of 95 was when the US launch of the Saturn was.
Okay. We're Googling all over the place.
Bug is a weird, cool thing, and I enjoy it, and it launched on the Saturn, and I think people thought, like, is this what Sonic the Hedgehog is for this console? And I feel like that's how Bug got into more people's homes than it would have otherwise.
Yeah, and from memory, essentially Bug was going to be like the mascot for the Saturn. I think that's one of the things that Sega was trying to look at introducing, like a new mascot for the era. And because it was without a Sonic game at launch and stuff. But yeah, it didn't.
Sonic's in it.
Is he?
Sonic is in Bug. Yeah, he's in a bonus level. You race him.
I do not remember at all. I'll have to play this again. Wow.
I played that game through on my family's gateway computer.
Oh, nice. So you had the Windows version, did you?
Yeah. Those gateway computers with the cow print boxes.
Yep. But yeah, so that's my game. I think it's very unique. It's a very unique platformer. It's very different to any other 2D or 3D platformers at the time. I'm not saying it's the best thing ever. Some of the gameplay is a little bit slow, so it's not for everybody. But I found it very entertaining. It's very unique. So it's nothing I've really played since it's been anywhere close to that. So there I can dig it. But now we're moving on to one last thing to do with our Saturn memories, which is our top Saturn memory. My top Saturn memory is I did not own a Sega Saturn. I had an N64 at the time because that's the route I went. I went with a Nintendo route. I apologise right now, everybody. But that's for some reason at the time I had a Mega Drive and then I saw Mario 64 and I thought, that looks awesome. I'm going to get an N64. And also couldn't really afford either an N64 or a Sega Saturn when they first launched. So I had to wait a little bit of time. But my friend got a Sega Saturn. And we were out for his birthday in London at the Sega World, which was in the Trocadero near Leicester Square. So we went to basically a Sega-filled day of fun, playing arcade games and stuff. That's where I got to play the G-Lock game, I think, and some other bits and pieces. And then inside the same building that Sega World was in, there's I think there's a couple of restaurants and there was also a shop. There's a Virgin Media shop, I think it was at the time. So they sold CDs and vinyls and movies and stuff. They also had a small game selection and they had the Sega Saturn there. And my friend went in there. He had been given some money for his birthday. He had £70. No, I think he had £100 for his birthday or something. And he went in there, picked up a game which I'd never heard of, never even seen before, didn't know anything about it in my existence. And it cost him £70. And I was like, wow, that's expensive, because the games back then were £35-40 at the most. So I was like, this is an expensive game, dude. What are you buying?
Yeah, games got cheaper on CD.
Well, you thought so, but it was a very special game. It came with its own controller. You guys may or may not know what it could be.
I know what it is.
Oh, Scotty's doing it at the same time.
God, well, you win. I'm holding up my box, and it's half the size of yours. I'm a piece of shit.
That looks way better than the US.
So it's Nights into Dreams for the audio listeners. So yeah, big fat controller with it. What's your back look like? Mine's just a picture of the controller on the back. So you've actually got a picture of the game on the back. That's crazy. That's the thing.
I notice you still have the price tag. I have my Babbage's electronics price tag that you can see was $69.99. That's definitely not going to show up on the camera.
I picked this up for £50. Yeah, was that £50? Yeah, £50 from a random second-hand shop that I happened to walk into and was like, they've got Knights with the 3D controller, I'm having that. Because before this, I had the 3D controller and I had Knights. I did not have the box of Knights and the 3D controller together. So yeah, I've got my
controller ever.
Woo, yeah. I love this controller. But yeah, and my friend bought it and I was like, dude, you've spent so much money on this game. That's insane. We went back to his house. We all stayed the night at his house. There's only a few of us. I think it was 4 or 5 of us. Went back to his house. He put the game in and I was just like, what is this magical thing you're showing me right now? I was like, oh my God. Because I played on the Saturn. I thought the Saturn was fine. I thought the graphics were good for its time. I liked it. But I was never like, I need to buy this machine. We were playing Nights. We played it all night long. We didn't even actually properly finish the game because we weren't very good at it. So we never got to was it Wise Man? The main boss. We only ever got to Riella, who's not even the proper boss at the end of the game. And I didn't realize until years later when I owned the game and got vaguely decent at it and got to Wiseman, I was like, holy shit, there's a whole other boss and stuff. And so yeah, we played that all night long, just a group of us, and I was just in love with it. I thought the controller was amazing. Being able to walk around in 3D as the kids, that was the thing. We were messing around. We were trying to jump on the train, and I think it's Frozen Bell level. You can jump on the train, and the train will actually ride around in 3D on some tracks, and you often fall off because it gets too steep. But it was just so much fun. And then I think there's a car bit. There's an area with a little car that drives around, and I think
Oh yeah, it's a
get hit by the
top-down
car
view.
or jump on the car or something. But yeah, like as you're a kid, you can like go walk around the area and like find the car. But yeah, I just loved that game so much. So that was one of my favorite experiences from the Saturn. I played the Saturn before, liked it, but this was the top point. I was like, this is awesome. This is so cool. And then I bought a secondhand Saturn off some friends who were selling it for like 30 quid with Sega Rally. And I was like, boom, got it. Nice. Yeah, they were idiots. Oh yeah, I like them, but yeah, that was a bargain, I thought at the time. So yeah, that is my favourite Saturn memory, or fondest Saturn memory, I'd say. So
Nice.
Anti-Chris, you're next
nice.
up, buddy.
This one's a little bit more recent. So I didn't grow up with a Saturn. I didn't get into like years later. I never really like delved into it until like the last couple of years. I want to say like in 2014. But this year, I recently learned that my wife is a god at virtual pinball. She was going through my collection the other day, and she was just like, "Wait, you have pinball?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "I want to play pinball," because she grew up playing Crew Ball on the Genesis, which is a super like interesting. It's a fun game. It's like I never really paid attention much to like video game pinball outside of like Sonic Spinball, and I hate that game. That game's ass.
It's not good.
No, but then like I later found out about like Devil Crush and shit like that. I'm just like, okay, there could be good ones. Well, Last Gladiator is like a legit virtual pinball. Like it all looks like real pinball machines. I don't know if they're actually real. But in Japan they came out with 2 versions of it. I don't know what the differences are. I don't care. But Last Gladiator is a really it's got 4 different themes. The one that we keep on going back to is called like I think it's like the War of Roses, where it's like all knights themed and it's black or black and red background. But she is just ridiculously good. Like I thought I did okay getting like 300 million. So I have the Japanese.
I own this.
Yeah, I have the Japanese version of that.
I have a problem.
But she takes it and she gets like over 1 billion points on it in the first fucking sitting. And she's like teaching me about how you play virtual pinball. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And so like I want to say like once every couple of weeks, like once every 2 or 3 weeks, she'll come down and she's like, hey, set up the Saturn for me. I want to play pinball. And she'll just sit there the entire night, the entire fucking night. It's amazing. So
that's a good feeling when your significant other says or goes to turn on the system themselves without you being around.
Yeah, and like Tiff plays video games. Like she grew up on like Halo and shit like that. So there's games that she definitely likes to play. But it was so odd for her to go to a retro console that she never owned at all and be like, yo, put on that pinball shit and let me rock
play an even more retro style of game.
Exactly. Because she's very much like, why do you play the Super Nintendo? Why do you play the Genesis? These games look so old. I'm just like, nah, bitch, you don't understand. Don't understand.
Oh, wow.
Said I'm gonna learn you something.
I feel like that's a lost genre as well. Pinball games. I feel like I don't see them anymore unless I'm mistaken.
They're not super common. Like I know that on Steam, like Graham, I know you don't have this, but on Steam, like they have some virtual pinball games and shit. Like Star Wars pinball. I mean, they're on the Switch. They're there, but they're not really heavily marketed.
Okay. So I remember back in the day that being a thing. Like,
well, it's probably an unfortunate result of like there's no what were they called Gottlieb. It's just Zen pinball out there now. Like Stern is doing stuff, but I mean, pinball machines are like collectors are buying those more oddly with a interesting resurgence of pinball and arcade here and there, but mainly pinball coming back. It's out there, but yeah, actual games. I think there's kind of a monopoly now with video games released with pinball collections and whatever.
Yeah. It's weird. But that's my memory.
That's a good memory, I think.
It just happened.
Yeah. So Scotty, what is your top Saturn memory?
Mine goes back to Saturn Bomberman. When I lived in a house with 3 other GameStop employees, we had frequent enough parties, or just like because most of our friends worked at GameStop, or our significant others were just always around, we would have parties. And there was a time when the Saturn was always just hooked up downstairs, and I was able to convince like everyone there, like, whether you're a gamer or not, let's try this out. Let's play some Saturn Bomberman. So I had the 2 multi-taps. Try to hold this so it doesn't... I mean, we already saw it. I don't need to hold it again. I had 2 multi-taps set up. 10 people playing Bomberman. It was just so cool. And like, I was trying to explain to people how to play, and they weren't listening, and it didn't matter because you can still jump in and just go, because it's just the most basic thing of moving in a direction, sending a bomb, blowing them up. But we would do the 10-player thing, and then we would do the 8-player thing to make it a little more manageable. But I'll never forget one of my older roommates, in Saturn Bomberman, after you play a match, you can check out the stats and see who killed who, which is great because then that usually sets up vendettas for the next couple of rounds. Or you can also see, but it'll have a flame signal instead. If like I mentioned the dumbbells or the 1-ton things that drop down on you if you get killed in the sudden death. But also, if you're looking at the stats, it'll show a picture. It'll show your character, who you killed. But so if I look and see that my own character shows for who killed me, that means I killed myself. So with my own bomb, which is hilarious. But we'd be looking at those, and one of my friends, like, it never failed that somehow he would end up killing himself. And I'll never forget the quote that he said. He's like, "You can't kill me. I got dibs." But it was just so great to see so many people that, yeah, they're gamers, but honestly, more people that were not really gamers playing Saturn Bomberman and sitting down and playing my favorite Saturn game, probably my favorite game at that time, because this was like the 360 era, so not too long ago, but long enough that the Saturn was not relevant at all. But to just have like a group of people sitting on couches and chairs and the floor, and like this just fucking Amazon of cables going from my Saturn console to each person, to the point that we had to like label controllers so everybody knew who they were and everything, and going through the character select, and like having mass hysteria in my living room with Saturn Bomberman was so much fun. And that is the reason I have probably 15 fucking controllers between guns and sticks and game pads for my Saturn. But I have 2 multi-taps, so if that ever happens again, that we have enough people in maybe the next Dreamcast marathon, that could be the post-game thing where we all sit down and play a massive game of Saturn Bomb.
I would be all over that. I'd love that so much.
That's definitely my favorite Saturn-related moment, though.
Hell yeah.
That is brilliant. I love those sort of things that come out of this sort of stuff. And wow.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. So yeah, let's
obviously, in summation, the Saturn is the best console of all time, is what we're saying.
Basically, yeah. It's got the best game ever, Panzer Dragoon Saga. It's got the best Bomberman ever. It's got the second best Street Fighter.
Right.
It's there. It's got some wacky games. It's got some great memories. So yeah, it's just a pity it didn't win the battle, as it were. And I guess that will wrap up this segment and the show. Anti-Chris, have you got any announcements or shout-outs you want to do at all before we end?
Every Sunday night, we record live the Scrubverse podcast. So Twitch, just twitch.tv/Scrubverse podcast. You can find us there. You can find me at antichris_SV on Twitch as well. I'm a variety streamer, so I stream pretty much everything. I do Sega stuff two nights a week. We're in the middle of #SaveSega right now. Let me see if I could actually pull my schedule up in the record time. We're playing Yakuza Like a Dragon every Wednesday. On Tuesday, we're going to be playing Elemental Gimmick Gear for the Dreamcast.
Great.
We're also doing a Sonic the Hedgehog tier list. I am going to start playing Sonic Lost World on Monday. So Mondays are going to be dedicated to the Sonic tier list. Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Tuesdays is really my Save Sega day. Wednesday is my RPG day. We're doing Like a Dragon. And then on Fridays, that's usually reserved for fighting games. We do like Friday Night Fisticuffs. And it's usually like Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, Tekken, Street Fighter. Usually anything that's like Arc Sys related. or Sega related, those are the ones I'm mostly proficient at. So that's what I do. Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Always welcome, buddy. Always welcome. And Scotty, have we got any site announcements or the like at all?
Not really. Just keep an eye on the site because we do have previews and reviews coming up. I mentioned Puyo Puyo's in the making. We do have streams going on at least every Thursday. I think TJ's going to get back in there soon since he's moving into his new place soon. Awesome. Just keep an eye on our Twitter more than anything. There is still time to donate to Extra Life. We did, I mentioned before, we kicked the shit out of our $1,500 goal with the help of Sonic Shuffle, which Chris was on and very happy to play.
It changed my opinion on the game.
Oh, good. I'm not sure if that's which way that went, but so if you do want to go, the tiny URL is tinyurl.com/M as in Mega, V as in Vision, E as in Extra, L as in Life, so MVEL 2020. Want to hop on there and donate a little bit more? You've got till the end of the year, which would be really cool. That's about it, though, for me.
Lovely, yeah. Just reiterate. Antichris's Bubble Bobble review is on our website right now. Scotty's preview of Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 is on the site now, and my review of Arcade Racing Legends for the Dreamcast should hope to go up this week. So stay tuned to all that stuff. MakerVisionsMag.com. But with that, we're out of here. So thanks everyone for watching, for listening. Be excellent to each other.
Please. I'm surprised we didn't mention Segata Sanshiro. He'll punch us out of this episode. Honey, I gotta tell you about this sandwich.